Why are going to the very well disease?
Where
You're welcome on that good for you. I'm gonna be on You're welcome on Black Hot Network, Africa Maria and my colleague, INNOSSETU from Kampala, Uganda. Of course, it is a good evening, and it's a Friday. And it's a Friday. Of course, here. I hope you guys are doing good, and we welcome you all on our show. Today's topic is the Black Power movement. Uh, of course, this is started in America, but we still see this stretching down to Africa as well. And of course, as Black people or Africans, we ought to remember the struggles that, of course, a lot of Africans went through for the little peace and the little freedom that most of us are enjoying now was a sacrifice and that other people may desire it to be. So, of course, allow me to welcome you on this show as I take you through a little bit of the beginning of this whole Black Power movement. Now, the Black Power movement or the Black Liberation movement was a branch or a counterculture within the civil rights movement of the United States. Um, Reacting against this more moderate, mainstream, or incremental tendencies and motivated by a desire for safety and self sufficiency that was not available inside, of course, the redeemed African American neighborhoods. Now, Black Power activists founded Black owned bookstores, food cooperatives, farms, media, printing presses, schools, clinics, and ambulance services at the time. Now, the movement was particularly inspired by ideologies and individuals who were outside of the United States, such as American expatriates in newly independent Ghana. It also impacted others outside of the United States, such as the Black Power Revolution in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, by the late 1960s, Black Power came to represent the demand for more immediate violent action to counter American white supremacy. Now, most of these ideas were influenced by Malcolm X's criticism of Martin Luther King Jr.'s peaceful protest methods, the 1965 assassination of Malcolm X coupled with the urban riots of 1964 and 1965, which ignited the movement. Now, new organizations that supported Black Power philosophers, ranging from the adoption of socialism by certain sects of the movement to Black nationalism, including the Black Panther Party, which was usually known as the BPP, of course, grew prominence. I will see from the Black Power movement or the Black Liberation movement, a lot of people came to adapt apparently the struggle or the strength to fight. Black people realized that, all right, if we can reach somewhere, definitely we can fight and succeed. We still saw this stretching to Ghana and other parts of Africa and the rest of the world where Black people were settling at that time. Now, while Black American thinkers such as Robert F. Williams and Malcolm X influenced the early Black Power movement, the Black Panther Party and its views are widely seen as the cornerstone of the struggle. Now, it was influenced by philosophers such as Pan Africanism, Black nationalism, and socialism, as well as contemporary events, including the Cuban Revolution and the decolonization of Africa. You know, the first popular use of the term Black Power as a social and racial slogan was by Stokely, of course, Carmichael, later known as Kwame Ture, and Willie Riches, or Ricks, later known as Mukasa Dada, are both organizers and spokespeople for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Of course, at that time, by the Mukasa is a Ugandan name. Mukasa Dada. Um, Mukasa Dada is a Ugandan name. So, but we even, but I think this other Ugandan who rebelated, he was a
Zanzibar,
mayor,
like
Wamuchoro.
Okero or
Okero
something.
Richard. Yeah. Sorry. We were talking about history now, in a little bit. So we saw that a lot of people, after, of course, seeing that Black Americans were struggling for freedom and equal rights in America, and to the point that even if we did not see them achieve this fully, but they laid a cornerstone that, of course, is still to be remembered for a very, very, very long time. All right. And this, the freedom or the fight for the rights of Black people all over the world did not only stop in the United States of America, but it's also stretched down in Africa. And we see a lot of African people who, of course, brought change to Africa following the same cause. And actually, and this is how most of the people, of course, ended up even fighting for independence. Unfortunately, the fake independence that we have now. Malcolm X, we know that is largely credited with the group's dramatic increases in membership between the early 1950s and the early 1960s. And of course, in March 1964, Malcolm X left the nation due to disagreements with Elijah Muhammad, among other things. He cited his interest in working with the civil rights leaders, saying that Muhammad had prevented him from doing so. Now, later, Malcolm X also said Muhammad had engaged in extramarital affairs with young nation secretaries, a serious violation of the group's teachings. And of course, we from this you see that Malcolm X was breaking away, and they had wrangles in within the society or within their group as the people who were, of course, heading this. Of the people who are heading this very, of course, organization of fighting for the Black people. Now, Malcolm X was shot and killed while speaking at the Audubon Ballroom in Washington Heights. That was in New York City. Now, three nation members were convicted of assassinating him. Despite this, there has long been a speculation and a suspicion of government involvement. Now, the 40 police officers at the scene were instructed to stand down by their commanding officers while the shooting took place. It has not only been Malcolm X actually who have been shot. We've seen a lot of people who have, until now, by the way, this is still happening until today. Unfortunately, probably the results aren't that um, loud, or people, the information is not too much loud, but we have seen a lot of people who wake up to talk or disclose about a lot of the secrets that are going on in the world against the black people, or people who try to open the eyes of the black people. At the end of the day, it does not end well with them. Malcolm X is one of them, and actually, for those who were able to see Malcolm X's body, it had very many bullets. All right, so definitely, Malcolm X was shot to be killed. And the biggest question still lies: why were the officers not on duty? Why did they stand down at that time? And two, we know that in the very organization there were a lot of wrangles that were going on. This thing happens within the black people. I don't know whether it's not only the black people, but maybe the world, because I think we've got a lot of betrayers, we've got a lot of traitors within the black families. Uh, the killing of Malcolm X, even though we know the government was so very much involved, we know he was betrayed
Mm.
by his own. All right, and I know he knew. But you know, when you're such a strong man, or when you're such a strong person who is willing to take your lead your people, at times there are things you keep quiet. And I know Malcolm X knew he was going to be murdered, but he had to keep his people strong. He had to go to that, of course, conference. He had to, because he had to stay to live as the Malcolm X. But I believe he knew that things are not going on well, and he knew anytime he's going to be murdered. And of course he was. um if you look at the bullets that were on Malcolm X's body, because I've seen those pictures. Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Um it's like it was a whole magazine, like someone opened a whole magazine of Malcolm X, like uh, intending to kill him, right? And so so we have seen these things not only with the Malcolm X, of course, but Malcolm X being a young man who was murdered at the age of 39. All right, and someone who trying to struggle for the African American unity, and someone who was willing to go through apparently rejection, hate, and everything, judgment for the black people. I believe he was betrayed. This is something I know. Even if the government was involved, someone within the group knew that Malcolm X was going to be murdered, and they knew what to do at that particular time. But like I've said, we've seen a lot of people die. We've seen a lot of people being killed, not only in America but also in Africa. When you're someone who stands up to say the truth against the bad governance and everything that goes on, definitely you're putting your life at risk. It's a threat. And this is why a lot of people fear to stand out and speak the truth. Some of them know what to say, some of them know the truth about a lot of things, but it takes guts. It takes too much love. It takes sacrifice for someone to be bold to the world, and, of course, let the world know what is going on. I will let Innocent to say something to you guys as I come back.
Yeah, okay, well, um, Uh, like what am I- we see that after the Watts riots in, of course, Los Angeles in 1965, the student, of course, non-violent coordinating committee decided to cut ties with the mainstream civil rights movement. So they argued that the blacks needed to build power of their own rather than seeking accommodation from the power structure in the place. So the SNCC migrated from the philosophy of non-violence at one of the greater militants after the mid 1960s. The organization established, of course, ties with the radical groups such as the Students of the Democratic Society. In the late October 1966, we see that Newton and Bobby founded the Black Panther Party in formulating a new politics. They drew on their experiences working with a variety of Black Power organizations. So, escalating in the 19 late, of course, the late 1960s, the Black Panther Party initially utilized the open carry guns laws to protect party members and local black communities from the law enforcement. So, party members also recorded incidents of police brutality by distantly following police cars around, of course, neighborhoods. Numbers grew slightly starting in February 1967 when the keynote speaker at the conference held in his honor. By, of course, 1967, the SNCC began to fall apart due to a policy disputes in its leadership, and many members left for the Black Panthers. Throughout 1965-67, the Panthers staged rallies and disrupted the California State Assembly with armed, of course, marchers. In 1956, the Panthers and their allies had become primarily, of course, targeted and of course singled out in of course 223 of the 295 authorized black nationalists. In 1968, the Republic of New Africa was founded, the separatists group seeking a black country in the southern United States, only to dissolve by the early 1970s. And in 1968, by 1968, we see that many Black Panther leaders had been arrested, including the founder, Huey, of course, Newton, for the murder of a police officer. So Newton's prosecution was eventually dismissed. Yet membership surged. Black Panthers later engaged the police in the firefight in, of course, a Los Angeles gas station. In 1970s, the Panthers established obudde tebukyabo. So, like I was saying that
What's your problem?
I lost my recording. Some recording. Black Panther.
The Black Panther Party initially utilized open carry gun laws to protect party members and local black communities from law enforcement. We know that until now, by the way, we know that the black community until to date is being attacked by law enforcers, more especially in United States of America. Um, on a broader view of the law enforcers attacking our black community, in America we see the Bazungu Americans, I of course, and a few of the black Americans also, of course, acting on command to attack the black community. But when it comes to Africa, it's again a crazy one, yeah, because you see your fellow African, somebody even you know where they sleep at, somebody probably you grew up with, being used as a mechanism of attack. This only does not work in the United States. I think in the United States it's a little bit um, loud or seen because there is that color difference. All right, because we got the black Americans and those others who are white, I should say. And in Africa, it's not seen because we're just the same. But we still see police brutality in Africa as well. And like I always said, the mechanism of police somehow, now this is crazy, but it's true. The entire police system all over the world seems to have been designed for the black people. Because even the police in Africa does not favor the Africans in Africa. Rather, like it says, it's to protect and serve or to protect people um and their things or my stuff is kind of protect people. We don't see police doing that. We see a high level of police brutality in very many countries in Africa. Because if we remember, most of the structure of police or the style of policing, which of course most countries are trying to turn into community policing, but the style of policing in Africa was drafted by the colonial masters. You can see that before Africa itself got independence, we saw a lot of machineries, like people from, of course, India, Pakistan, being in different police, being in different police in different African countries. But this entire police system never changed. The only people that changed are the faces. When Africa gained its independence, it did not change the policing system. The policing system remained the same, with the same weapons, with the same whatever machineries, with the same tactics, with the same code of conduct and everything that follows. All right, but this code of conducts, the entire system mainly was drafted by the colonial masters. And this is why we see the same things. At times, you'll be asking yourself, why do you have too much corruption within the police? Why do we see a lot of insecurity again being done by police officers? Why don't we see peace, black on black peace? when it comes to police, in Africa and elsewhere. It's because this whole system, not only in the United States of America, but also in Africa, it was designed by Mzungu, and that's why it has never favored black people. So back to the movement, the Black Power movement in America, or within the black people, I should say. This was, we saw that Black Panther as a party decided, uh, of course, to at least take lead. And for them, they are moving with the gun, guns in open, all right. And for them, they knew the only way to protect their members is to have the guns, is to protect them one on one, all right. Um, I usually see a lot of people still using the thumbs up and stuff like that. Um, most Africans don't even know the history of that the feast. Um, like I'll give an example about the situation in Ghana where like Bob Wine like uses the feast. Yeah, he did. He did, and I think a lot of Black Americans.
How is it that it is the black power movement and this one is people power?
Mm.
And they're using the same.
And the most painful thing, he doesn't even know the truth about this thing. It's like he just read the headline, but now he's getting to learn. But at those times when he had just begun.
Really excited.
And then the funniest thing is that most people don't even. Most people, most Ugandans don't know that this feast began long time. At times they come across a lot of people having that feast, and they're like, "Yo, can you imagine even most people knew?" I read an article which was a little bit funny. Um, one of the comrades in the Black Panther in America, even before Bobi Wine's existence. People took that picture and they were, the social media suckers. They started saying, even they talked about Bobi Wine, and they were lying to Ugandans, and a lot of people felt like this is true. They talked about Bobi Wine in America even before Bobi Wine came into power, stuff. And I was like, really? And people were like, yo, so he's a chosen man. Yeah. So he was a chosen one that, yeah, you can see when his feast is being used on a shit like that. I'm like, really? How can people be this naive? But anyway, that's Africa for you. And I guess this is how even people find it easy to intimidate us and control us. Um, when the Black Panther Party, by the way, I must these people, they all initially utilized an open carry gun laws to protect party members and local black communities from law enforcement. The party members also recorded incidents of police brutality by distantly following police cars around neighborhoods. Now, this is like you being a vigilante, right? This is when the black people chose to have power to decide and protect themselves, and to decide. We had the vigilante, a group of black people who were ready to sacrifice and protect the other, black community. All right, and we lack that now. Although I see a lot of black people coming out with the cameras and they're saying, "Oh yeah, even people go and use that here." The Black Americans, there was a certain time when they were like, "Your camera is your weapon." And the Black Americans were always having cameras and the phones. Anytime we see police brutality, no, of recent,
yeah.
no, just of recent, right? Because we had a lot of brutalities in 2000s. There was too much in the mid 2000s, and the previous years there was too much. Remember, Floyd was killed. We have seen a lot of black people being killed on the streets, in stores and everywhere. So people have been using cameras, all right, as weapons. They expose you to the world. And this slogan was started with the black people in America So they decided, like, if you have a camera, you capture. So we've seen scenarios where someone is like, I'm out, I'm capturing you, I'm recording this instance, and they're talking to police.
mm,
And at times you see the police get a little bit scared and then they let someone go. And then I also see the ones trying to use the something better on your camera, yo. Let your camera be and bro, it's just
mm,
like
mm,
that guy fancies Americans a lot, I guess.
mm.
But this is time to do a booty. You know, so because what's in the
And by the way, stupidly, Ugandans like think this is new.
Mm.
This is new. You know, the president elect.
And at times I feel shy. I don't know. When I'm looking at this guy, sometimes I feel a little bit shy because I'm like I don't know how to say or maybe I look at I don't know. But some people like behave so stupid. Like why don't they even see these things? For someone to come and claim, yeah, tandika we ya camera. Kati camera ya weeping me.
Mm.
Go baby. I mean, put social media.
Mm. This guy, by the way, is like these days is reading
Yeah.
a lot of history connected to black people and
Mm.
how those revolutionists used to fight. So he's using the same tactics. However, stupidly, Ugandans think that these things are new.
He gained a big follow population of Black Americans, especially when he used that Black Panther face
Mm,
at that time. And before, if you don't know this guy very well, you can fall victim. I should say, sorry to use that victim word, but um, you can fall for his scam.
mm,
Um, but I just gave up. All right. One time when I heard of his speech, all of his words, he's like we have got some books that were written by scholars who, of course, followed Malcolm X,
mm,
and some others are Malcolm X's books.
mm,
Dude was reading these scriptures, and he wasn't even crediting Malcolm X. He was
mm,
like reading like he's the one saying this. All right, it's okay for you to do that because, of course, we are in a struggle, right?
mm,
We want to gain a full power, so it is okay. It's okay, but no, it can never be Malcolm X.
mm,
That's never going to happen because there's a lot that if you want to if you want to be someone like that, at least if you want to imitate, if you feel like you want to be that, be exactly that.
mm,
Don't be a quarter of that and a third and the 3 quarters is definitely something else.
mm,
All right. So anyway, that is it. Now we saw struggles within the Black Panther Party, where of course I liked the way Black Panthers used to handle their things. Though we had Malcolm X's teachings were so verbal, all
mm,
right. He was imparting that will in everyone's mind.
mm,
He was imparting the knowledge in people's minds. He was letting people, he was actually awakening the spirit and the souls of black people. He was allowing them to grab, you know, the spirit of strength and the warrior in them. Again, Malcolm X wasn't into gun, you know,
mm,
he wasn't into fighting and stuff like that, protection. Basically, he was about in his speeches, teachings, you know, that was what he was known for. And these speeches actually contributed to a lot of awareness, the conscious awakeness. People awakened, people got to understand. Um, because his words and views were, of course, absorbed by the black people. And then we see Black Panther, which decided to be so practical,
mm,
having guns, having cars for our police when police are within the black community. They made the police know that we are around. We are ready to die and protect the black people. And even if you go ahead and see the images of Black Panther, you realize most of them are having machineries.
mm,
All right, they are standing with, of course, uh, guards. We know that Malcolm X emphasized the need for Black people to recognize their unique identity, culture, and history. His speeches promoted the idea that Black Americans should take pride in their heritage and assert their autonomy. Now, by encouraging self reliance and self determination, he inspired many to seek empowerment within their own communities.
mm,
Well, we know that Malcolm X challenged the novolient approach of leaders like Martin Luther Jr. He urged Black Americans to engage in smarter political voting and organization, rejecting leaders who he believed served white interests.
mm,
Malcolm X had a call for international civil rights. Efforts expanded the struggle beyond national boundaries. Now, Malcolm X highlighted the systematic oppression faced by Black people. He pointed out how poverty, inferior education, and limited job opportunities were deliberately imposed upon Black community. His speeches exposed the real criminals, the white power structure, and called for systematic change. Like I said, guys, Malcolm X's actions were much of verbal. He was an eye opener. Malcolm X, of course, had ideas, contributed to the development of Black Power movement. He emphasized the importance of self respect, self defense, and community solidarity. His legacy helped popularize, of course, his legacy helped popularize values of autonomy, independence, and pride among African Americans during the 1960s and 70s. Malcolm X's speeches resonated deeply with Black Americans, empowering them to challenge the status quo, embrace their identity, and strive for justice and equality. Like I said, we do not see Malcolm X having guns on the streets. We do not see Malcolm X having open fire. Malcolm X opened the eyes of the Black people in America, not only in America, but actually the entire world, because his speeches even reached down to the roots of Africa. Until today, Malcolm X is still remembered. We even have a street here called Malcolm X. Malcolm X Street. And then we're going to Pololo. There's Malcolm X Street. Martin Luther. I remember there was this time, Babu and I answers. There is a time he wanted to demonstrate, so he chose to go to Malcolm X Street with his, people. Yeah, I guess to demonstrate, to have a peaceful moment. Street Jata take up. To government the Jama Street Jata money that we had to take up. And he called people together that streets. And we even have Luther Street one or
mm,
to now Luther. So we have streets, many streets here that were named after, of course, Black Power movement leaders. We have a lot of those streets here in Uganda, praise. But yeah, we do. So, we Malcolm's teachings still run in the minds and, in the ears. Until now, we still read a lot about Malcolm X. But most of his struggle were he asked for a smart, breakthrough. All right, he wasn't too much into bloodshed. All right, for him, he believed that he wanted to. I believe that maybe he wanted to prepare. because you cannot do all the things at once.
Mm.
But Malcolm X contributed a lot because he prepared the mind of the black people. Check it out.
Mm.
He made them know, he made them to realize, to understand their worth, to know their identity, to struggle for themselves without shame, to be bold enough to stand and apologetically to claim that they are black people with no question, with no sorry whatsoever. Now, Malcolm X paved that way. All right. A lot of people were probably so lost because a lot was going on at that time. But his preaching, people started believing in him. They understood who he was. We saw a lot of young black Americans coming out at that time trying to oppose. Yes, a lot of people lost their lives, but people stood boldly and started opposing the actions of the white supremacists in America at that time. I remember I watched a certain documentary that was about America's struggle for equal rights at that time, and a lot of American women were used. Um, and by the way, the American community also they had increased the rate of mixed babies. A lot of African young women were raped on the streets, of America by the white privileged Americans, and they were left motherless with these own mixed babies. And actually, so crazy. She was crazy, really. I don't like going in such kind of details because it's a sad one. But like we said, Malcolm X's action was so verbal, oral, and I think he was preparing the black people for Black Panther and definitely preparing black people for today. Prepare because we are here talking because of such kind of people who got us to realize that we are people who are supposed to be heard. All right, we are black people and we are not ashamed to do that. Okay, and we are not ashamed to be that. We are so unapologetic. He made black people or African American realize their self worth. Because a lot of people were looking down on themselves. A lot of people felt like we can't go to school. A lot of people felt that we cannot have better jobs. He made them realize that you can achieve more than what you think. And we saw that, of course, we saw a lot of people embracing the reality from, of course, Malcolm X's oral speeches. Now we said that Black Panther, for it had an open carry gun law, which was, of course, to protect members and to protect the party members and the local black communities from law enforcers. Black Panther numbers grew slightly starting in February. That was around 1967 when the party provided an armed escort of uh, the San Francisco airport for Betty Shabazz, uh, Malcolm X's widow, and keynote speaker at a conference held in his honor. Black Panther wasn't real. Usually, people usually heard about Black Panther, but Black Panther became so extremely, of course, prominent or known throughout the African American community when they escorted the widow of Malcolm X. Of course, when they escorted her, oh, kiddies, when they escorted her at San Francisco airport. Of course, I think people who loved Malcolm X felt so touched and they knew that Black Panther was there for them for the act that they did. At that time, they made sure they protect Betty Shabazi, the widow of Malcolm X, through to escort her to the San Francisco airport at that time. Now, by 1967, um, we know that The parties a little bit began to fall apart due to policy dispute in its leadership, and many members left. Sorry, that was in that no through 1967. I'm mixing these years. In 1967, we saw Black Panther growing because different parties in America were breaking, and they had issues. So Black Panther grew throughout, and it became so prominent. It staged rallies and disrupted, of course, Black nationality groups and others that were, of course, being used as. You remember when we had these different parties, we had a lot of whites uh, starting up other groups that, of course, wanting to cause disunity within the Black people. We had some few groups that were actually not of the interest of the Black people, and Malcolm X even had preached about this and was up against Martin Luther. He was against him, saying that he was a total sellout. So we still went ahead and saw most of these groups that were claiming they are fighting for the Black people. Of course, yet they were working under the white supremacists at that time. And a lot of people who realized some of these groups were not as strong as they thought broke away and joined Black Panther. Now, the Panthers staged rallies and disrupted the California State Assembly with the armed marches. Now, in 1965, that of course, we saw that Black Panther itself decided. This people remember, like I told you, for them it was about their guns. It was so practical. Black Panther was very practical, um, more than verbal. When do you open fire? Because it was so brutal, but brutal in a good way, I should say. Because for them, they were no nonsense people. They were no nonsense people. I never wanna lose any of one like you. Sorry. Oh my god, my god, my god, my god, my god. Sorry, yo. Sorry, yo. I've been doing so much, there's so much everything here. All right.
That's one of some break or revival just but it's just like how like people are getting to know like what is love.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that, but we're back right now. So I was how long was I explaining, but I'll just continue. Alright. In 1956, the FBI developed a COINTELPRO to investigate black nationalities, groups, and others. Now, by 1969, the Black Panthers and their allies had become primarily COINTELPRO targets. Now, singled out in 233 of the 295 authorized black nationalist uh, COINTELPRO actions in 1968, the Republic of New Africa was founded.
Mm.
All right, as are you sure? A separatist group seeking a black country in the southern United States, only to dissolve by the early 1970s. Now, around 1968, many Black Panther leaders had been arrested, including founder Newton, for the murder of the police officer. Newton's prosecution was eventually dismissed, yet membership surged, and Black Panthers later engaged the police in a firefight in Los Angeles gas station in the same year where Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, creating nationwide riots. Now, the widest wave of social unrest since the American Civil War in engaged the police, followed by rioting. Now, the year marked the state of the White Panther Party, a group of whites dedicated to the cause of the Black Panthers. Now, the founders, Plumondon and John Sinclair, were arrested but eventually freed in connection to the bombing of a Central Intelligence Agency office in Ann Arbor, Michigan. That was around September the same year. But we see that the Black Panthers began purging members due to fear of law enforcement, um, infiltration, engagement in multiple gunfights with police, and one with the Black Nationalist Organization. The Panthers continued their free hair, of course, campaign internationally in the spirit of rising militancy. The League of Revolutionary Black Workers was formed in Detroit, which supported labor rights and black liberations. That was the journey of course, the downfall of Black Panther. Um, but of course, at that time, Black Panther this very organization experienced a backlash. It experienced a huge setback. Most of the Black Panther members feared even to meet or gather because police was up on them. They are so afraid. Some of them started even denying being members of this very organization because most of them had lost their loved ones through and the struggle. You know, when there is too much bloodshed, it takes strength for someone to stay strong in such kind of instances. Black Panther being, like I said, um, I don't want to use the word. I don't know the word to use. Most of these words that I want to use are words that were created by white people. Sometimes I feel like they don't fit in, they don't fit in, they don't fit well in the things I want to mean. But I will say practical to make it sound smoother. But they were so uh, hands on with their, you know, with their machineries. Um, they are always on open fire, and there are people who were ready to shoot at any time they see a black person trying to be attacked. So for them, it was, I feel like it was, they were ready to shed blood in order for other black people to have peace. So I guess this words, and we have a say, say everywhere me that.
Yes.
You've never had that.
No,
Now, do you want about, are you serious? I'm not in politics.
I've never
How
heard
long
about.
would you go on about like about having that peace? People should die.
Yeah, nowadays, I've never heard of that phrase, but I've ever heard about that.
In English,
In,
you have never had it in English.
no, like
In your
even
language.
yeah, even in
In
native
your
language.
language, how do they say it?
Oh, I've ever heard of like for peace to be there, there must be
That's not that saying.
struggle.
You cannot. That's not that. There is the other phrase. I don't know your language, but I know that's what they say. It's see a good one with You've never heard that word before. Like people, I think black. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I've never had that word before. But there is that saying that peace comes with bloodshed. All right. I was saying it in his language, but he said he has never had that word before. He has never had people say that before. So I feel like Black Panther probably maybe was living that proverb. All right, because for them they were ready for war anytime, any day, any place, and they did that actually throughout their existence. I also remember. So until the police, of course, we see a group that was called the White Panther and stuff like that. People coming out to, I don't know, we still have a lot of white people saying, "Oh, we are fighting for the black life and stuff like that." And shit.
Mm.
So this is not a new thing. It was even there during the Black Panther era, where a lot of white people came out and started their organization that was called the White Panther, where they were, of course, supporting the Black Panther and the rights, civil rights for the black people. Um, of course, in 1970, Minister, the Honorary Prime Minister of the Black Panther Party, Stokely, of course, traveled to various countries to discuss methods to resist American imperialism. Now, in Trinidad, the Black Power movement had escalated into the Black Power Revolution, in which many Afro Trinidadians forced the government of Trinidad to give into reforms. Now, later, many Panthers visited Algeria to discuss Pan Africanism and anti imperialism, in which some, yeah, former Black Panthers formed, of course, the Black Liberation Army to continue a violent revolution rather than the party's new reform movement. Um, on October, that was in 1970, the Black Liberation Army is believed to have planted a bomb, of course, in St. Rita's Church in San Francisco, while it was full of mourners attending at the funeral of San Francisco police officers Harold Hamilton, who had been killed in the line of duty while responding to the Francisco police officer. Sorry, he was responding to the bank robbery. The bomb was detonated, but no one in the church suffered serious injuries. And of course, they claim that that bomb was, of course, set by um, the Black Panther members or the Black Liberation members at that time. Now, several Panther officials fled the US due to police concerns. Now, this was the only active year of the Black Revolutionary Assault Team. That was 1971. Now, a group that bombed the New York South African consular office in protest of apartheid, of course, that was around September. It placed bombs at the UN mission of the Republic of Congo, Kinshasa, and the Republic of Malawi. Of course, in February 1971, ideological splits within the Black Panther Party between leaders Newton and, of course, Clever led to two factions within the party, and the conflict turned violent, and four people were killed in a series of assassinations. In 91, five Black Liberation Army members participated in the shooting of two New York City police officers, and of course, those brought to trial for the shooting include Anthony Bolton, known as Mutahim, Albert Washington, uh, of course, Francisco Torres, Gabriel Torres, and Herman Bell. Uh, but there is still a story that lies behind all these stories. Remember at the beginning when I told you when Malcolm X started this, when Malcolm X had his struggle, for him he was aiming at a clean liberation, all right? And there are still some people who are fully immersed in Malcolm X's teachings. They believed in a non-violence, freedom. But again, Malcolm X himself said, if you understand, if you realize there is a traitor, it is okay for you to kill that traitor than to let that people betray thousands of you. All right. So which means that at a certain time, at a certain point, he knew if things go sour, it is okay for you to handle that practically. All right. But a lot of people, so these parties had people who had different beliefs. Some others believed in action, which I won't call violence, because if I told you are practically protecting yourselves against such kind of harsh circumstances, then I wouldn't term that as violent. I'm trying to find a suitable word that falls in this. Because there is no way you trying to follow a police car that wants to harm black people who are innocent, or being violent. There is no way you're trying to protect yourself against the killing of the whites in America. Uh, you know, there is no way we can call that violence. So I'm trying to find a word that suits that phrase. Um, but like I was saying, so we had people in these different groups that uh, had different beliefs, and for them they felt like they had different approaches. They wanted to have. There are some who believe that if a Muzungu is holding you on gunpoint, it is okay for you to shoot them dead. And there are a group of black people who felt like if they put a gun on your head, it is okay for you to raise your hands up. Now you can see how, of course, divided these groups were, and and the Bazungu knew. Like I always tell you guys, these people know exactly what they know exactly who we are. They know how disorganized sometimes we are, and at times they know why we are disorganized. So they knew that in these particular groups, there are some particular other people who do not support the fire protection system. I'm like meaning kill to protect. All right. Some black people never believed, or they never supported kill a white man to protect a black man. Okay. So there was still division. And for these parties to be divided, they made sure there was a lot of violence. Uh, we see These tactics still being used up to date. We still see these tactics, all right? Um, so most of the white people were, if at all the Black Panther wanted to kill the people in San Francisco, they would have killed the people. They would have killed the mourners. There is no question to that. Why would they bomb and nobody's injured? If they wanted, why? What was the purpose of the Black Panther people to set that bomb in the San Francisco, church where people were mourning? If they wanted that, they would have killed the people. But of course, this is a game because remember, like I told you, they knew the group. There were some Black people who were up against the killings. All right, the protection, the fire to fire protection. Some Black people were against that. So Mzungu, the white, for you who don't know, when I say Mzungu, it is an African word to mean the white person. So Mzungu, for the Mzungu to separate the motive of the Black people at that time, they had to make sure they even stage their own attacks. Because we see through these different attacks, some other people started to withdraw. Some other Black people started to withdraw from this struggle. Some of them were like, how? So people are definitely, they have killed officers, and now you're setting the bomb. So what have those people done? All right, they were not attacking us. So a lot of debates were flowing. They were not attacking us, and now you go ahead and bomb the church. If the people in that movement wanted to bomb these people, they would have bombed them. But remember, there's no one who died during that incident. So the Muzungu knew how to play this game. They knew what to do. All right, because they were plotting their own game. And of course, they don't fail to arrest. We have seen them do shit. We have seen Black people being arrested for even not committing any crime, except that you cannot say you've not committed a crime. They claim that we look like criminals. All right, maybe we look like prisons, we look like criminals, whatever it is. But people were arrested on this very incident. And we see from there a lot of arguments, a lot of breakups. People even started to flee. People left the United States. They moved somewhere else, running for their freedom because it was getting so violent. And I believe they started hitting and pointing fingers at each other. Are you the ones, guys, who did that? How can you do it? We didn't do that. All of them started pointing fingers at each other. This is uh, this is something, and this is a technique that is still being used within the Black communities. This technique is still being used against us. All right. Like I said, these people know us. They know how our emotions are. We react so very much, so fast to their emotions. They know. Probably maybe they read us. I don't get. But we saw most of these parties trying to disperse because Zungu knew that there was a little bit of a disagreement within the parties. Like I said, others felt like we can handle this slowly and we shall reach there. Others felt that you cannot do that. We need to be on an open fire, open up each time, because if you shoot one Black man, then we shoot one Mzungu. And others are like, we cannot follow that. That cannot work. We need another approach. So there was argument. And when these bombs were set by the Bazungus at that time, of course, even within the organization, they started blaming themselves. They started blaming themselves. You did this, you did that. The people were innocent and stories like that. But of course, um, then several Panther officials, of course, fled due to police concerns, and of course, some of them were arrested at that time, like the Torres and Bell and many others. Now, during the jail sentence of White Panther, of course, because White Panther, when I think about White Panther, it's a little bit funny. It doesn't sound so. I don't.
If at all, like this kind of movement, it was like it was, let me call it strong, like strong men were not assassinated,
Mm.
and that black nationalism grew even actually even up to the 21st century, which meant blacks could be holding like a state or a country in the US.
Mm.
They could by now
Mm.
singa kati they could be holding.
Ah, so I was saying that PC for sure. But of course, that of course she
Because
but
it's what
it's
these
so
people wanted. They wanted to of course to administer themselves politically, financially, and socially.
they wanted
They were
to
asking for
Habagala
civil
Bumbia.
rights for blacks. They could be managing themselves
Ate bandi
as a
badde
country.
wala.
However Haiti, however much it is not actually recognized fully internationally. However Cuba, Cuba has black people.
Yeah.
Stay there.
Mm. Bandi badde babalondera mu kazooni kaabwe.
Mm, mm.
Just to kubeera ne peace. But they were afraid of competition. They needed the black people to, they needed them and they knew there was waliwo okwemenyamu, then things wouldn't work well for them. Enkolera sinaba tegenuneeko.
So we know that it of course in in 1970 the honorary prime minister of Black Panther Party, of course Stokely Camacho, traveled to various countries to discuss methods to resist American imperialism. In Trinidad, the black movement had escalated into the Black Power Revolution, in which many Afro Trinidadians forced the government of Trinidad to give into reforms. Later, many Panthers visited Algeria to discuss Pan Africanism. You know, sorry.
Hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tandikira wansi wano was the year Newton shut down.
Oh.
Mm.
So we know that in 1972, this was the year where Newton shut down many Black Panthers chapters and held party meeting in, of course, Oakland, California. On January 27th, the Black Liberation Army assisted police officers Gregory Foster the Rocco, of course, in New York City after the killings. So a note sent to authorities portrayed the murders as the retaliations for the prisoner deaths during, of course, the 1971 Antica prison riot. To date, no arrests have been made. So on January 30th, we see that five armed BLA members hijacked Delta Airlines Flight 88, sorry, Flight 8841. So in which we were collecting a ransom of that was estimated to 1 million US dollar, and diverting the plane. After passengers were released to the Algeria, the authorities there seized the ransom but allowed the group to free. Four were eventually caught by French authorities in Paris, in France, where they were being accused of murdering a prostitute in 1974. So Newton fled to Cuba. Elaine Brown became party leader and embarked on an election campaign. We see that in the late 1970s, a rebel group named after the killed prisoner formed the George Jackson Brigade. So from March 1975 to, of course, 1977, the brigade robbed at least 70 banks and, of course, detonated about 25 bombs, mainly targeting government buildings, electric power facilities, Safeway stores, and, of course, companies accused of racism. In 1977, Newton returned from exile in Cuba. Shortly afterward, the Elaine Brown resigned from the party and fled to Los Angeles. The party fell apart, leaving only few members. We see that move developed in, of course, Philadelphia in 1972 as the Christian Movement for Life, a communal living group based on Black liberation principles. When the police raided their home in 1978, a firefight broke out during the shootout. One officer was killed and seven other police officers, five, of course, firefighters, three move members, and three, of course, bystanders were also injured in the same incident. We see that in another high-profile incident of the Black Liberation Army, Asita Shukul, Okori was said to have opened the fire on the state troopers in New Jersey after being pulled over the broken, of course, taillight. Shakur and the state trooper, of course, Wena Forrester, were both killed during the exchange. Following their capture, Shakur was tried in 6 different criminal trials. According to Shakur, she was beaten and tortured during her, of course, incarceration in a number of different federal and state prisons. And the charges ranged from kidnapping to assault and, of course, battery to bank robbery. Shakur was found guilty of the murder of both Forrester and her companion, of course, Shakur, but escaped in prison in 1979 and eventually fled to Cuba and received political asylum. Okori, we see that he was convicted of killing Forrester and sentenced to life, of course, imprisonment. In 1978, a group of Black Liberation Army and the Weather Underground members formed, of course, the May 19th Communist Organization, or the M19CO, and it also included the members of the Black Panthers and the Republic of the New Africa. In 1979, three M19, of course, CO members walked into Visitor Center at the Clinton, of course, or coronation facility for women near Clinton, New Jersey. They took two guards hostage and freed Shakur. Several months later, the organization arranged for the escape of William Moles, a member of the, of course, the Puerto Rican separatist group. So we see that we see that Fezaz, the Liberacian National, of course, Puerto Rican from, of course, the Berlin Hospital in the New York City, where he was recovering after a bomb he was building exploded in his hands. We see that we see this group, of course, declining in 1980s. Over the 1980s, the Black Power movement continued despite a decline in its popularity and organization members. The Black Liberation Army was active in the US until at least 1981 when the Brinks truck robbery conducted with support from the former Weather Underground member Kathy and, of course, engaged Kathy and David and left a guard and two police officers, of course, died. We see that Gilbert, along with several BLM members, was subsequently arrested, and of course the M19CO engaged in a bombing campaign in the 1980s. They targeted a series of course, they targeted a series of a series of government and commercial buildings, including the U.S. Senate. And in November 1984, two members of the M19CO, Susan and, of course, Timothy Blank, were arrested at the Mean warehouse they had rented in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Police recovered more than 100 blasting caps, nearly 200 sticks of dynamite, and of course more than 100 cartridges of Gale explosive and 24 bags of blasting agent from the warehouse. We see that the M19 Co-Alliance last bombing was in 1885 at the policeman's Benevolent Association in New York City. A move had relocated to West Philadelphia after the earliest shootout, and in 1885, the police, along with the city manager, Ray Brooks, arrived with the arrest warrants and attempted to clear the move building and arrest the indicated move members. Uh, the movement members. So this led to an armed standoff with police, who, of course, lobbed tear gas, canisters at the building. So movement members shot at the police, who returned fire with automatic weapons. So the police then bombed the house, killing several adults and children and causing a large fire that destroyed the better part of the city block. And in 1989, well into warning years of the movement, the new Black Panther Party formed, of course, in the same year, August 2020, 22nd. We see that Newton was fatally shot outside by a 24-year-old black guerrilla family member, Tyrone Robinson. So we see that the fifth point of the Black Panthers Party 10-point program called Education for Our People that exposes the true nature and the descendant American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. The sentiment was echoed in many of the other black power organizations. So the inadequacy of black education and earlier being remarked by the W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, and Cattell G. Woodson, with the backdrop of course Stokely Cam Mitchell, and of course brought political education into his work with the SNCC in the rural South. This included the Get Out of the Vote campaign, the political literacy. Bobby Seale, and of course Newton used education to address lack of identity in black communities. So Cecile had worked with the youth in after-school program before studying the Panthers. Through his new education and identity building, they believed they could empower black Americans to claim their freedom. So, just as the black power activists focused on community control of schools and politics, the movement took a major interest in creating and controlling its own media institutions. Most famously, the Black Panther Party produced the Black Panther newspaper, which provided to be one of the BPP's, of course, most influential tools for, for disseminating its message and recruiting new members. So we see that the WAFR was launched in September 1971 as the first public community-based black radio station. The Durham, North Carolina station broadcast until 1976, but was influenced later, of course, activist radio stations, including the WBFW in Washington, D.C., and the WRFG in Atlanta. So, Australian Black Power, we see that the American Black Power movement influenced the Aboriginal Australian activists from the 1960s onwards, especially in Sydney. And of course, the term became widely known after the Victorian Virgins Advanced League, led by Bruce and Bob Mazza, invited a Cambrian activist, Roosevelt, of course, Brown, to give a talk on Black Power in, of course, in 1968, causing a media frenzy. The AAR, we see that was influenced by the idea of Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael. The Australian Black Power movement had emerged in Sydney already and south, of course, Brisbane. Following the Freedom Ride led by Charles Perkins in 1965, there was a smaller group of people at the central of the movement known as the Black Caucus. So, Bobby Skies, we see that defined of course, Australian Black Power as the power generated by people who seek to identify their own problems and those whose community as a whole. And who strive to take action in all possible forms to solve those problems. While Paul Cole saw it as the need for, of course, Aboriginal people to take control both in the economical and political and cultural resources of the people and the land. So,
Mm.
that they themselves have got the power to determine their own future. So activists and later academic Gary Frawley later wrote that in Australia, black power was essential about the necessity for black people to identify the world in their own terms and to seek self-determination and independence on their own terms without white interference. So, we see that the leaders of Black Power movement after the 1970s, the Black Power movement saw a decline, but not at the end. In 1998, the Black Radical Congress was founded with debatable effects. The Black Riders Liberation Party was created by Bloods and Crips gang members as an attempt to recreate the Black Panther Party in 1996, and the group has spread, creating chapters in cities across the United States and frequently staging paramilitary marches during the 2008 presidential election. New Black Panther Party members were accused of voter intimidation at the polling station in the predominantly black Democratic voting districts of Philadelphia. After killing, of course, Martin, Black Power paramilitaries formed, including the Newton Gun Club, African, of course, American Defense League, and the new Black Liberation Militaria, all staging armed marches and military training. So some have compared the modern Black Lives Matter to the Black Power movement. Nothing.
No, that
Uh,
Black Lives Matter is time.
uh,
Yes.
so the movement for Black Lives openly promotes Black Power.
Most
However,
of us just said, what do I put it
let's take a Hmm?
tujja kwegomaazawo amamaaso kati kwogeza mu mutwe there is, uh, waka ati kaweddeyo kawedde sobola kwogera kawedde ngenda kwogera bwogezi kati there is for until now black people are still trying to struggle as much as we still have black people who claim that racism does not exist. We still have a lot of black people still who say using the word racism is an excuse um, for black people to cover their failures. There's something that someone will say, don't talk about colonization because colonization ended long time. Racism has never ended as much as colonization, as well as colonization. All right. Colonization never ended, it still exists. But yeah, I know some people think it did. The same as racism. You also go ahead and realize some people say, black people don't forgive. I will still ask a question like, what is there to forgive? Okay, and why, if at all we are to forgive, why are we forgiven? So, should people wake up and decide that we are forgiven? Are you sure the people you're forgiving want to be forgiven? Um, we always have this whole mixed feeling. I'm sorry. You cannot say you're going to stand and fight. You cannot be religious. You cannot be a Christian. You cannot be a Muslim. And then say you're going to stand and, of course, um, fight for the black people. We've seen religious people do that. But at a certain time, you're going to be betraying your own religion because religion doesn't support that. Unless you're going to have, you can still look for ways of covering that into religion. But at the end of the day, your hands are going to keep to be tied because religion doesn't do that. And we've had a lot of the reason why now today. By the way, most of the churches in the world are filled with black people, whether they are born agains. But I don't know how they call born agains in these other places. I don't know. I don't know what you guys call the born agains in America and other places. These are people. They come in different with different names. I don't know. The prominent I know they are the Christian prominent Christians I know are probably the Catholics, the Protestants. There are these other born agains, yeah, those ones who love too much music in their churches. I don't know they call Pentecostals or something. What? I don't know. But there are many here. People have a lot churches everywhere. But the major and the main reason why black people can never stand up and fight because we are our hands are tied around religion. Because number one, religion says do not fight. All right, Jesus is gonna fight for you. So the Old Testament says something else, and the New Testament says the Old Testament was about fighting, bloodshed, fight for what is yours. Yeah. So when they came fighting bloodshed, preaching the gospel and stuff like that, and as the phase was fading away, New Testament came in, and it concludes that Jesus died, all right, for your sins. So you're not gonna fight nobody. You're not gonna fight for you because somebody is fighting for you. Because that somebody died for you. Somebody fought for you. Somebody shed his blood or his son, I don't know, blood for you. So if you look at all these things, they keep people's hands tied. That there is no way you're going to fight for your liberation. If at all you're a Christian, unless you're gonna tell me you're a fake one. But if you're a real Christian or a real Muslim, there is no way you're gonna fight for your liberation. Because even the people you're gonna be fighting up against are people who are the leaders of the same religion. So if you say we're gonna fight about the exploitation of the minerals in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you should know that your church, as a Catholic church, for example, it takes lead in Congo's democracy, it takes lead in Congo's politics. The Catholic Church has a bigger say in the situation in Congo. By the way, people don't talk about this, right? I'm connecting this to the movements, and probably if at all our black people are out there planning to have these struggles, and probably they are dreaming, how come? I wish we had struggles. I wish we could do. All right, if you're going to do that, you have to scrap away that religious thing. The mask you have, just put it down and know what you're fighting for, and be unapologetic. What's ahead? Um, like I've given you an example. So if you have to stand and say we're going to fight about the situations in Africa's exploitation of minerals, remember the church is the biggest exploiter. Before even we pinpoint to the United States of America, Russia, China, the church is the biggest exploiter. If you look at a country like, of course, Congo, which is rich in the world most wanted minerals, you realize that the church, the Catholic Church, controls Congo's political system. People hardly talk about this. People are pointing. Before even America comes in the picture, the Vatican is there. Before Russia comes in the picture, of course, Russia Catholics, Putin is a Catholic man, so what? Before, so I think there is somebody who runs this who is bigger than the America, bigger than the Russia, bigger than China. Somebody who is command, and the same person we humble ourselves to. Now, this is the biggest problem. If you look at the Black Panther movement, Malcolm X converted a lot of black people into Islam. I'm sorry, I'm not like trying to say, I'm not supporting Malcolm X. I know people will jump into this because you have a right to have your own thoughts about this. I wasn't there when Malcolm X was there. I wasn't even, I bet if my mom was even born, I don't know. So, maybe my mom wasn't born yet. But
1968 was born.
mm, kyogamba okufa sigamba kubeerawo yarunning for how many years
Mm.
katutuuseeko kufa so ne baba yazaalwa yali tamanyi politics nsuubira I don't know. So I'm not like trying to judge because someone was she's talking ill about Malcolm X. I know I love Malcolm X's words. All right. And this is my own point of view about this whole Black Power movement. As much as I support the free will of Black people, I support the willingness to fight. I support that strength that people, that boldness. All right. Malcolm X converted a lot of Black people into Islam. He was a Muslim man. And then we saw Malcolm X and Martin Luther weren't despite they were black people, they were up against each other. One did not trust the other. It felt like the other one is being used, and this one also pointed. But people skip the fact why these people were like that because they had religious differences. All right. One was a Christian, the other was a Muslim. Before even you become a Muslim, winning people's souls to your religion is extremely important, more than any other thing. If I told Malcolm X was up against, if I told Malcolm X was, of course, ready to fight for the black people, which he clearly showed the world, his religion as a Muslim man became fast before anything. This is why I said if there is anybody who wants to revelate the black people all over the world, religion should be put aside. Because the number one separator, the number one thing that is going to separate us from united is religion. And they know the importance of this. All right. And whoever formed this knew, and they know what this does, and they know the purpose of religion. You are seeing the purpose of religion throughout the black movement until today. I know these are things people usually skip. People hardly talk about the difference that was the difference, the religious differences that were in the black power movement in the United States of America. People skip that because for them they feel that these were just minor things. For them, their mind sees a bigger picture, which is, of course, black people or the African people. But there was a big vice that was eating up some other people who were ready to die for the black people hated Malcolm X because he was a Muslim. And the other people who loved Malcolm X hated others because they weren't Muslims. If you remember very well, I don't know if you have read this very well, you will know that Malcolm X converted a lot. Martin Luther baptized a lot. Now, if Malcolm X converted a lot into Islam, and until now we still have a lot of Black Americans who are so proud to be Muslims because of Malcolm X. You don't tell them nothing. They love being Muslims because they saw Malcolm X do some good thing. All right, and others hate him because he was not Christian. We saw Martin Luther even baptizing. Some people converting them. Those who followed him converted because they loved what he was doing. The same thing to me, which I feel like before even people started preaching about the freedom of black people, it was important that these people had religion in their mind. It was important for the black people to be religiously immersed, right? To the point that whenever Malcolm X would have his speeches, you start with Salam alaikum and yeah, the whole hall would say Walaikum salam, and whatever that follows. All right. And we know what religion has done. And throughout that struggle, we see struggles. Malcolm, I love Malcolm X. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not Muslim. I'm not gonna say I love him because I don't know. I've not had that time to put that big word, but I love his teachings because they're the ones at least I've known. Right? So we are not gonna say I'm not going to say I don't love those others, but people had things that we have learned from them. The teachings that have been so helpful, uh, they have opened our mind, consciously awakened us, allowed us to see a bigger vision of black people all over the world. The Americans at that time became so bold and so unapologetic. They are so proud to be black people. They started to identify themselves. They remembered who they are. America had made them forget. So that was the importance. But the bigger picture to me, because when Malcolm X was converting, there is now this funny thing. Malcolm X was usually never liked people who, of course, he said some other people who are claiming to be in these movements are puppets to the whites. But again, when some whites wanted to convert to Islam, he allowed them to convert. Okay? He, he allowed them to convert because it was so important for anyone, no matter. When it comes to Islam, there is no skin. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're yellow, whatever it is, blue, I don't know. So it was okay abazungu converting. Mukitegera? That means yellow. But of course the good things we are called we overdoing all this. Why don't people recognize that? Because we ourselves we have that religion thing at the back of our mind. I can tell you something. Here in Africa, um, let me say for instance, if I'm a Catholic, such as a Muslim, I'm having a rosary, and I meet a Muzungu with a rosary, and this Muzungu, oh no, I hardly see Catholics do that. Let me do this. I'm a Muslim. Innosetu is a Catholic. I'm covering myself with that hijab and all the things that, of course, show that I'm a Muslim woman. And Satu is an African man, all right? And I find a Mzungu man or an Arab man wearing the cape and the kanzu, we call it kanzu, that thing that Muslims wear, having his, I don't know whether they call it rosary, whatever, the beads like they pray, and is fighting Innosetu. I can guarantee you, I wouldn't even want to know what Innosetu has done, because there is this Muzungu who is exactly, a son of Allah, right? He's a Muslim. Before even I question, hey, stop attacking Innosetu. No, the other, because of religion, I feel like I'm supposed to defend this other person, and maybe probably later on, as I'll remember, oh, Innocent is a black man, so what happened? But the first reaction, the first person I wanted to save, or the first person I wanted to defend was this very person who had wore the religious attire just the same as mine. What's that? Bef- Before even thinking about the fact that Innosetu is a black man, he's an African man like me, I'm looking at religion as the first thing. So, religion, we have seen all these, we have seen the black power movements collapsing because of mistrust, because of different ambitions, because of different beliefs. And the white people usually know. The white people usually know. We have seen people who cannot stand and fight. I've seen the biggest population of Africans who claim it is okay. Their time will come when God is judging them. I've not heard people say that. For us, we can suffer. Africans have agreed to suffer because the time is coming when God will judge all of them for the pain. The God or the Jesus they brought to you. So what makes you think is going to punish them? They're the ones who brought that person. Whoever that person is, whoever it is, they brought to you. But what makes you think? Because if at all they can be given that liberty of committing all those crimes against others, what makes you think they're going to pay for those crimes? So I feel like if at all people are going to wake up and decide that we are going to have a movement that is going to stand in for the black people, then religion should be put aside. Before even you think about your religion, remember black people existed before religion came in the picture. Africans were Africans before religion came. All right. Black Americans were Black Americans before religion was introduced. So you cannot put something just that just is just recent. I call it recent because you existed before that. And this is why probably we still have a lot of separatism. We have a lot of differences. And I know this is one of the weapons. We talk about education being one of the greatest weapons, but religion is. Because even the people education, there are those even who are not educated. There are still those people who are still traditional, but they're still in religion. You understand? You'll find even people who are practicing African spirituality, some of them going to churches.
And I think it's one of the biggest reasons why this movement like failed to prosper.
Yeah.
Because of religious differences. Like people are like Katumusirama to Ghana.
And whenever we are looking at this, people hardly recognize this.
During that time, there are a lot of precedences that had happened which are too religious.
And you can see most some Mola Mamanya Singana Baslan. Shakur, Michael. They had a lot there was a lot within the struggle, but of course it's a shame for people to be mentioning those things that happened within the struggle. But the truth should be told. There was a lot of religious differences within the Black Power movement. There was a lot of religious differences. At that time, remember, religion was extremely staunch. Forget this now that people will say, I'm a Catholic and you've not gone to church for apparently like 7 years. You've not even had your Holy Communion. At that time, religion was staunch. If someone was a Catholic, they were definitely Catholics. Even the church priest knew them, knew the entire family. They would question you, why didn't your children even come to church? It was so staunch. Now you want to tell me that these people they removed the religious wig and focused on black life, which was like, impossible. So we had a lot of betrayers We did this we had a lot of people betrayed. And if you look at this movement, most of the people they claimed that set the bombs were actually people who were Muslims. If you look at most of their names, Shakur, apart from Gilbert and others, but remember, of course, most of them mixed. Most of them are mixed. Most of them mixed together, and they formed different parties. Within even the parties, they still keep it just here. Let me count.
You guys probably about to wrap up. Good afternoon. Oh, well, good evening, Seto and Rhea. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Hello, kid.
All right, that's good to hear. So you guys got 1,000 people in here, 1,143. Watch the show. So what's the conversation? Black Power?
Yeah, we've been talking about Black Power movement.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are our conclusions about the Black Power movement? I had to hurt you Ugandans country mate today. She got a little upset today. I had to go in and break her back, Seto. You know, we got a Ugandan in Kenya that's working for us now. Her name is Iwatan or something like that.
Yeah.
So I had to go in and you know, get upset about Jesus. She was crying today. She was crying today. It was crazy. She was crying today, Seto. I was like, calm down. Calm down. It's all right. You know, because I had to ask her one question. You know, do you believe in the white Jesus that's on your wall now, or the one that President Putin showed you that's Jesus? Which one do you believe in? I don't know. It don't make no difference, don't it? Shouldn't you just get the picture right? And everybody, and then the family told me stop beating up on her. I wasn't beating up on her. I was asking her a question. I didn't think I was beating up on her. I thought I was asking her a question. Which Jesus do you adhere to now? Is it the black one that Putin said, or is it still the same white one? I just asking. I just wanted to know. Oh, Maria. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send the rest of your money with your pay. Instead of just keep trying to send. I'm gonna send the rest of the money I owe you with your pay. I'm just add it with your pay.
When?
$18. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it with your pay this Monday. I'm just
Uh,
gonna add it together.
okay.
I'm just gonna put it together. You know. Don't get mad that I said. Don't get mad that I said it online. Keith, shut up. You don't say that on the network. you know.
But,
You
but,
know.
but
Go ahead. Go ahead,
for
Seto.
me, I believe by the time she'll spend like 3 to 4 months at Blackwood Fire Network, she will get to know, she will understand the truth.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's funny. Even her guest. She had a guest on the show. I wasn't gonna come on her show. She had a guest on there. She had two guests, right? And the guest was saying the same thing. She had this crazy Kenyan lady talking about she was a Marxist feminist. What the hell is that? She said she was a. I said, how can you have two? I said, where did you get this ideology from, lady? How can you be a Marxist and a feminist? I subscribe to communism and feminism. I said, what? What kind of ideology is that? Because I stayed up the show, but I had to come in. I was like, ma'am, do you know who created Marxism and feminism? And so I tell her, I said, the same people you talk about, you're against capitalism. I said, African people, you pick up too many ideologies that don't come from us. I said, where'd you get this from? I got this from South Korea. South Korea? I said, what? I said, well, yeah, but communism started in, feminism started in France and England. It was the laissez-faire movement. I said, no, it did not. I said, it started with the Rockefellers. She's like, is that peer reviewed? Is that peer reviewed? I said, peer reviewed? Ma'am, this is something that everybody knows now. I'm sorry. This is the CIA and the Rockefellers created feminism. He asking me, is it peer reviewed? I want to know where the information you're giving me coming from. I said, Jesus Christ. I said, ma'am, you picking up ideologies that are anti-African, that were meant to destroy African people. You talking about you learned this from South Korea. I don't believe black women should give birth to babies anymore. It's labor. We're not getting paid for our labor. So I should pay you to give birth to our children? I said, your mind is completely fucked up. I said, excuse me, every time. I know she's your guest, and I want to be respectful. But ma'am, you understand feminism was created to break up the family. That's why you're now spouting crazy ideology. Said, the world is not paying for your labor. When we come together as a family, me a man and you a woman, these are duties of men and women. Women give birth. It's not like it's a job. What are you talking about? We're not being paid for our labor to give birth. So we shouldn't do it. Like, you understand now that that's why they created the feminism move. So you're crazy as cat shit. See what you're saying? You now got ideology that tells you not to reproduce us as people. That's what you're saying. That we shouldn't reproduce as people. I said, man, this is crazy talk. I said, a lot. I said, a lot of us are ignorant. I don't like you calling Africans ignorant. I said, ignorant doesn't mean you're not intelligent. Ignorant means you don't know something. You don't even know where your ideology came from. You tell me it came through South Korea through France. It didn't come through South Korea through France. It didn't. I would like to see what peer review documents do you got so I can go look it up. I'm like, what? Yeah, she said, what kind of peer review documents do I have? I said, this lady's crazy as cat shit. I said, this lady's crazy as cat shit, boy. I said, obviously you are an intelligent woman. I know you're Kenyan, but you're ignorant to really how the world works. You're ignorant. You think you read some stuff and you're taking up people's ideology. You don't understand what it was designed to do. You said that you are a Marxist feminist. You know how crazy that sounds? You said like they need to put you in a straitjacket and put you and lock you away somewhere. So I said, wow, so giving birth to our next generations is a problem. Yeah, women shouldn't be forced to have a baby. No one's forcing you to have a baby. See, the Creator created men and women to have choice to do certain functions. No one's telling you got to have a child. Yeah, well, it's labor that we're not getting paid for. And I subscribe to Marxism. I said, you know Marxism was created by the Rothschild family. You know the Rothschild family is? No, are they peer review? I said, listen, you need to go study these two families, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. You understand where your educational system was created, your medical system was created, your banking system was created. You need to go study this. It was the Rothschild family in cahoots with the Rockefellers who created communism. Karl Marx with his name there. I'm trying to express it. Karl Marx. See, Marxism is named after Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. They were both Rothschild agents. Is that peer reviewed? I said, listen, go look this up. Go, okay, okay. I said, Irichon, just Google this. I just want to give it some background. Say, who funded Karl Marx? And Frederick Engels was one of the Rothschild's cousins. So whether it's
Who are
peer review, I'm gonna give you history, lady. So I said, just go look up, was Karl Marx funded by the Rothschilds? Right. He said, yeah. I said, yes, they created it to destroy society, to create chaos. You believe they're opposed economic systems when they are not. See, you got to go back. You can't just grab on to ideologies that you don't know where they come from and what were the overarching reasons for creating this ideology.
mm,
Did you pull it up, Seto? It should say Karl Marx was funded by the Rothschilds or funded by the elite. Then it said funded by New York, which are the Rockefellers.
mm, funded?
Who funded Karl Marx? I'm trying, she obviously you're highly intelligent, lady. I'm not saying, but you have no clue what you're talking about. You like all Africans catch on to other people's ideology. It's not yours. What you're talking about is not African. But you just want to attach on yourself to it all the time. Africans love to take other people's shit, the religions. I know that Jesus ain't real stuff. I said, yeah, but most Africans don't. I said, you still want to take on these people crazy ideology. What'd you pull up, Seto?
Hmm, I can't say that. Hmm. There is a lot. Karl Maxwell, whatever. That's the history. Why they're not bringing that founded
It may be
influential book?
hiding now. Say, you might want to say, who funded Karl Marx? That's where you
Yeah,
get Marxists and communists from.
check that. We are just it's just giving us Karl Marx Wikipedia stuff. We are not. What was such? Such. What was it? Uh, that's off.
Not a
What is
YouTube
it?
search. Do a Google search.
Yeah, we are doing a Google search.
Let me see. Let me see what mine would say. Let me see. Give me a second, guys. Let me go to mine real quick and, and type it in here. So let me see it real
Yeah,
quick.
okay, let me. Why did I bring that shit?
Who funded Karl Marx? Okay, so Ray's got here right. Mine is saying Marx died in London in 1883, somewhat impoverished, surrounded by most of his adult and his friend Frederick Engels. Engels' financial support came from the Rothschild family. No shit. Marx started the publications of a daily newspaper, the Neue Winz. Well, that's in German. I can't read that. That's in German. But yeah, let's tell you right here, and his friend Frederick Engels. So we know who um who funded it. Same people that control capitalism are the same people that funded that. At the request of the Communist League, Marx and Engels co-authored their most famous work, the Communist Manifesto, published in 1848. A call to arms for the proletariat workers of the world unite. The manifesto set down the principles on which communism was to evolve. Marx held that history was a series of class struggles between the owners of capital, which is capitalism, and workers, the proletariat. As wealth became more concentrated in the hands of a few capitalists, he thought the ranks of an increasingly dissatisfied proletariat would swell, leading to bloody revolution and eventually a classless society. So what you have here is an outlet of nonsense created by the actual elite that they were talking about that would cause the problems. So it means you fund both sides of an argument to really squash an argument. You fund both sides of that argument. So Frederick Engels, his partner in crime, was a Rothschild.
Mm.
So how's the richest family in the world sponsoring their own demise? They're actually not. They're actually like, it's called the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. So they'll create the problem, wait for your reaction, and give you the solution. Give you the solution. So that's what I was trying to tell this young lady. You know, start. Don't just take on ideologies without doing any research. Africans love to take on other people's shit. South Korea, what? You been to South Korea? What are you talking about?
Oh, I mean, where do
Well,
they get that?
well,
Which kind of they reading?
she said she was. I don't know what he got. Said she was a Marxist feminist. I was like, what? How are you a
Huh?
Marxist and what are you talking about? Yeah, go back and check out Iraton Show Guy on YouTube, and just go check. It's called "What's Popping with Iraton Today's Time." You'll see what. See, I can't share my screen and show you guys. Only you guys can see your screen. I'm on my phone, so I can't share anything. If you guys go to our YouTube channel, just go to "What's Popping with Iraton," and you'll see her arguments. Share screen, you see what she was talking about. You guys can share her screen, and it was completely. So it was. I was like, young lady, where did you get this ideology from? From South Korea? South Korea? What are you talking about? Why would you say?
Oh, maybe she was in South Korea.
No, she's never been to South Korea ever. She's only been in Kenya.
So she'd be reading South Korea things or the books written by South Koreans.
But she said that's where feminism Marxist started from. I said, do you know
Really?
what? Yeah, but she said it didn't. I know it didn't. We know feminism didn't start in South Korea. We know Marxism didn't start in South Korea.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
We're trying to tell me South Korea. How can you? Hi. That's not even connect. Yeah.
so
Marxism.
so
Impossible.
I said so when we got off the live I got mad at me because when she got off the live I said, wow, this lady's a whole imbecile. she crazy as cat shit. I didn't say it to her, Maria. I went till the show was over.
Stop. Stop saying that.
This lady's a whole imbecile.
No. Now, at times, I don't know. Like we always say, there is a lot of misinformation.
I
You
know.
know,
But if you're gonna be misinformed, at least be misinformed by Africans, at least, Maria.
not Korean.
If you
Yeah.
if you're gonna have bad ideology, I get it. We all misinformed and trying to learn. That's true. But if we're gonna be misinformed, at least be misinformed with African shit. Don't be misinformed with South Korean. Like, what are you talking? The South Korean and I said, you know what? Where'd you get this from? I got this. You know, South Korean said, yeah, I got this ideology from Africa. Where'd you get that from? I got this ideology from Africa. Hey, if you don't get out of my face right now, talking crazy, you know, it said it so proudly. Wasn't even ashamed or embarrassing. Where'd you get this ideology from? South Korea. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. All right,
please.
ma'am, please, ma'am, back away from crazy town first, okay? If you're gonna gather crazy ideologies, at least make it African, okay? least if it's going to be crazy, make it our own ideology first. Make it African. Oh, I lost these guys. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing from Twitter? They're back.
Yeah, okay.
They're back.
Remember.
They're back. They're back. Uh, if you're gonna have crazy ideologies, at least make them African. At least be a nutty African first.
I remember briefing. I think they were not briefed. I think if you did not brief, um, you did not brief her maybe on why goes around the house. They are not briefing. They were not briefed. Bajya kuzunguka mu South Korea. Osanga yakyogedde bwogezi osanga just okimanyi kati kati oluzibu wa talumanyi kati nze akugambe gundi yagambe mbuno tamanyi Luganda kivi naye yazaalibwa ali eri ku booda kati tumukoze eki tumukoze abyamanyi Oluganda. But anyway, like I was telling you guys before, Keith came into that picture. Um, as today's topic was about the Black Power movement, we have gone through the history of the Black Power movement straight up. Though we have not talked about the Pan African movement yet, I don't know, but we saw Black Power movements. We have I talked about the Black Panther. We have talked about the Black Revolutionary liberations. We've seen Malcolm X and his agendas, and we saw how these parties have been falling, how they have come to collapse. And you will understand that these parties, the very reasons why these parties collapsed in the United States of America still remain the same reasons the parties here in Africa have been collapsing. And the major reason that people even hate to talk about is that these parties had a context of religion in them. And the moment you mix fighting for black people with religion, you are bound to fail. Because first of all, religion is the number one element of division within the black people, within the Africans. Religion was and is still being used as the number one element of division. Because you see, when we talk about the demarcation, the boundaries, the ethnicities, you know that Black America or the African Americans are known as an ethnic group within the United States of America. They created that and they called them an ethnic, despite the fact they were collected from different places. Still in Africa, they introduced ethnic. So even when we are here in motherland, we still know we are a certain ethnic. We have the ethnic, the other side, we have this, there is still that separation. Now, when we talk about the ethnic, which people don't recognize, all right, but they recognize a bigger thing, which is religion. When we are looking at, when an African person is looking at another African person, let me say you are a Ugandan, and you are looking at a Kenyan, or no, Kenya is so close. Uganda and Kenya have a lot in common when it comes to whatever. Let me take it down to probably Nigeria. When you're looking at Uganda and then you're looking at a Nigerian, Someone will feel like a Nigerian is so different. I mean, he's a Nigerian, so why? But now, when you look at a Nigerian on a religious level, when you are looking at the other African on a religious level, there is no separation. So, as religion has united us, it has separated us from the real identity. Because before religion came into the picture, Africa had existed before. We are Africans before we are Catholics, before we are Muslims, before we are whatever it is, whatever doctrination we follow. And if you look at most of these movements, like I was telling you guys before, you realize that there was Malcolm X, who was a Muslim man. It was very important. Even Malcolm X converted a lot of black people into Islam. We had Martin Luther, who was a Christian. He was a Protestant, I think. He was a Christian man. Malcolm X was never meeting heads with Luther. He said Luther King Jr. was a puppet. Yes, he was at a certain level, because there is a way people believe Islam is much of Africanism than these other religions, than Christianity, because Rome has so much been at the forefront. So Christianity is so white than Islam. But again, when you look deeper, they are all formed by the same person. This is a government. Religion is a government that was designed to control the black people. So a lot of black people rather embrace Islam because they have that feel that, Arab people, Arab was Africa, original Arab people are black and stuff. But who brought Islam? Before even we talk about the original people being Arabs being Africans, we know that. Arabs are Africans, we know that. Original Arabs were Africans, I know. But who introduced this religion to the Arabs? Because when we are to dive back into that story of the Islam, which is a little bit long, you'll hear the Hamzas, the greatest men in Islam who fought to spread Islam, and how the Kaaba, that is Muslims go to pray right now, you will find them kissing that place. The history that lies in that place is too much of African tradition. And they put that monument there as a symbol of I don't want to go into religion, but if you're someone who has whatever, if you're a Muslim or Christian, you know how deep your religion is, and when you study that religion deeper, you'll understand it still brings you back to one thing. But we know who created and who washed the religion to turn it to what favors them most. So if we have Muslims who claim that Christian and Islam are not different, the only difference is they came from different direction, but they were all organized by the same board. Like we can sit here on Black Culture Network, me and INNOSSETU, and we decide. So this is going to be the agenda, and we are going to do this and that. You disagree, I say, all right. If you are disagreed, spread that. Let me go with this. But we are all on the same table. So throughout this, I'll still take you back before even after Malcolm X and Martin Luther. Malcolm X said Martin Luther King was a puppet. He was being used by the white. But there is no single day when Malcolm X refused to baptize whites. I mean, to turn whites into Islam. The whites who wanted to turn to Islam were welcome. He never said Islam was for black people. No, he never did. It was so important to whoever wanted to convert. And if you did convert, that means at some point you were a brother. And Martin Luther also felt the same, because we saw him baptizing, converting black people, converting some whites who wanted to turn to the religion. He was a gospel man. I'm going to give you an example. Idi Amin down here in Uganda. A lot of Muslims were favored by Idi Amin, right? To the point that he wanted to change. Apparently, he was a good man. He fought for Ugandans. But when it came to religion, he forgets that he was a Ugandan man. So Idi Amin fought for Ugandans. He chased the Indians out of Uganda. He gave Ugandans their freedom to have whatever they wanted, their peace to do business in their country. He he talked to Africans out of different ways of oppression. He's remembered, even though the history talks about him in a different way. But he had one weakness. Idi Amin had only
So,
one weakness that even people
sorry
don't
about,
talk about.
sorry about, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah,
I'm back. Go ahead. Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead. I'm back.
where have you been?
I got caught in a
So
situation. Go ahead.
don't eat popcorns.
No, no, yeah, yeah. Oh no, I wasn't going to set those priests to get raped for popcorn, Maria. I don't like popcorn that much.
Our
The center
knees.
said, the center said, why is everybody eating the popcorns?
So, so like I was telling you guys, the weakness, the one weakness that Idi Amin had that the world doesn't recognize is he had that religious weakness, the Muslim fever, I should call it. Despite
I
of
think it,
him,
I think it was the Arabs, but I don't think he was. Did he ever practice Islam, Maria?
yeah,
Was he? I mean, he was. I didn't know that.
he was, he
Oh
was,
shit! I couldn't.
yeah,
Wow, they never. I never seen that. I never seen them even do any of that. Okay,
yeah, he was,
That's why he loved the Arabs so much. No, I never
yeah,
thought. I never knew he was practicing Muslim. Okay, I'm
he was.
listening. All
He
right.
was a so he did a lot of good things for Uganda and Africa, but uh, the religion overclouded
Of
everything.
course. Of course.
This is like what I'm trying to let you guys see. Despite of his love, the love he had, when it came to Islam, he put everything aside. All right,
Mhm.
and then you realize that there is a way Muslims were privileged. Actually, Uganda was receiving. I had a weekend on Friday. Friday was a weekend, right? People used not to go for work on the
That was
weekend.
that was the fasting, right?
Friday.
Okay.
So because Friday Muslims is a day of prayer for Muslims.
Okay.
It's a holiday. It's like a holiday for Muslims.
Every Friday?
Yeah, every Friday is a holiday. It's Juma. You have to go to the
Man,
mosque.
man, we can't get no work done every Friday. Every Friday's a holiday. Shit, goddamn.
Church on Sunday. Church on Sunday. Muslims go to mosques on Friday.
All right.
Uh, so that day, Fridays were days that people were supposed to be out of work, out of offices. Idi Amin had put it that way, and that's according to I think the Muslim calendar. So if you look at all the things, and then I'll still take you back, we have seen a lot of great men who are pan-Africanists. We've seen great men who are fighting for black power. We've seen great men, but at the end of the day, they are overcrowded by religion, their judgment and
I agree.
their
I agree.
sentiments. All right.
Even Malcolm X. Even Malcolm X. I agree with you, Marie. Even Malcolm X.
That's why I was even talking about Malcolm X. All right, because he was a Muslim man.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he became a Muslim. First he was like a fake Muslim. It was called the black Muslim. Had nothing to do. These goofy Negroes in America created this fake Islam, Maria. So it was called black Muslims. It was fake. And so when he got disgusted with that, right, he went to Mecca to understand real Islam, and then converted to real Islam, and then they killed him anyway because he said he was like, it's not about the religion. He learned it's about us uniting as Africans, not the religion. So you're right, Maria. But you got to understand, he was so young. They killed him when he was 35, so he was still
Yeah.
learning.
Mm, true. True. So when it comes still down here to Africa, you see that we had a lot of strong men, but the religious context of the religious change the context of the struggle. So you cannot mix those two things. You cannot mix the of course the liberation of black people with religion. Those two things cannot work because the
Hmm.
religion itself condemns the liberation. All right,
It does.
the itself condemns the freedom of black people. So you cannot mix these two things. You're gonna tell me you're whichever religion, I don't know, whichever religion, but then you're telling me about trying to, of course, relate the black people or free the black people from whatever slavery, mental, physical, what economical, whatever, political, whatever it is. So you
Hmm.
cannot tell these two things can of course, work hand in hand. You have to let one go. If you're going to be religious, you're going to be that. You're going to tell me something else. Because the reason why most of this Black Power movement failed, the reasons that people even don't talk about were all surrounded by religion.
Yeah.
And like I told you guys, we saw that when the Black Panther started to fall, we realized that you remember the scenario of the bombing of the mourners in San Francisco,
Yeah.
which proved no mourner dead actually. People were okay. Which I still question if the Black Panther people wanted to kill these mourners, why didn't they die? So you look at these things, they were staged because they knew the black community had separatism. They had people who had separate mind. As we had
Hmm.
people fighting for us, the people that were fighting for were separated. They knew your mind. They knew, right? You know these people with their whole, now you're killing people in church. This is St. Francisco Church. There are black people definitely who are going to be up against this. You cannot kill people in church. And it really happened. A lot of people started withdrawing from Black Panther. Some of people say, no, it's a terrorist group. Very black
Hmm.
people, all right, started to deny it because of this very incident. I believe if Black Panther had of course set this bomb in San Francisco, I know the people in there, at least some of them would have died. But because this wasn't their doing, and that's why we see people just came out with no scratches. But of course, it escalated to the point that the information spread all over the world. Some other
Hmm.
people who were religious and were supporting Black Panther started withdrawing. They started claiming it's a terrorist group. How can you kill people in the church? Because we still had that religious content in our mind. And
Yeah, but
even
they
with this,
never, but they never did it. Remember, they were always set up because they needed to pit black against black, and not say they're not a freedom fighter group. They're killing black people in sitting in the church. Exactly right. So that would cause the community to now go against them.
yeah. So I know they didn't do it. They were set up, and actually that act caused a lot of mistrust. All right,
Exactly.
started withdrawing from supporting this party. People started
Hmm.
withdrawing from believing because they had gained support. We all over the world, wherever our black Africans were at. All right, they had that global support,
Hmm.
not only in America, but now people started withdrawing. Remember, now this attack was in a church. A church is very important when it comes to religion. So they were
Yeah,
like, how we going to attack others in the church? You mean, I mean, and then they were attacking other black people too. So they know the mind of the black people. They know the weakness.
that's true.
They know the weakness of the black people. And this weakness still turned the coin back in Africa when we see different Pan-Africanists, of course. Others are Muslims, others are Christians, and you
Christian.
see
Yeah.
like those others, they are Muslims. We don't like them. So who is that talking? He's a Muslim after all. They don't want to listen. Even if someone is saying something good, they don't want to listen. Because in
Yeah,
religion, nothing
because of
that says
religion.
is a friend to a Muslim. Muslims say Christians are evil. They're not blessed by God. They will never see heaven. They are
Hmm.
kafir. They should be killed, actually. When you kill a Christian, it is a bonus. If you
Damn.
according to Muslim religion, this is the truth. Many Americans don't even know this religion very well.
God damn. You sure about
They,
that, Maria? I don't know about that. Is that what?
you don't know about this? Oh,
Oh, what? I
I
don't know
think
about that. I don't know
you,
about that, Maria. I don't know
there is,
about that. What?
let me tell you, there is no staunch Muslim as an African Muslim. I'm telling you this, not even the Arabs. There is no staunch. There is no
Yeah.
staunch. There is no staunch religious person. You see, even the Vatican. Vatican
Yeah.
has no than the ones in Africa. They, these people studied that religion and they take it
But
to heart. Even the Pope doesn't know
I agree
Catholicism.
with that. I do agree. I do agree with that. But I don't know if it's telling them to kill Christians because they come from the
Ah,
same.
when
It's
you
supposed to be the Abrahamic religion. Supposed to be the Abrahamic religion, Maria. They come from the same nonsense. They both, love Abraham. It's the Abrahamic religion.
let
So
me
I
tell
don't know
you,
about.
when
All
you're
right.
not
Okay.
a Muslim, when you're not a Muslim, according to the Muslim scriptures, you're called a kafir. All right, you're called a kafir.
I thought you would
Yes,
call it infidel. I thought you would call it
kafir.
infidel. Okay.
A kafir. If at all you are having a religious argument, let me say we're having a debate,
Okay.
a Muslim, and you manage to kill me, maybe out of anger or whatsoever, it is a bonus. You might even go to heaven
Wow.
because you killed
What kind,
one
what kind, what
kafir.
kind, what kind of crazy heaven is that?
Me, this is what religious is. And the funniest thing, I realized the funniest thing when I don't know why Africans absorb things extremely. When
Exactly.
you look
We out
when you
Muhammad. We out Christian Jesus. Exactly.
when you look at a Muslim who is an African Muslim is extremely staunch than in the origin of Islam. They will pray every day, 5 times. They do it 5 times a day, all the time. If you tell them they are killing you for God, they will kill you with no question. And even they don't even have that time to pray 5 times a day. They are busy making money.
Yeah, exactly. You go to Arab countries. They're not doing none of that shit, Maria. Exactly.
Exactly.
The only the black people that take heart to these religions and go overboard. You're right. I agree with that. That's true. Everybody knows that. That's true.
Go
It's crazy.
overboard about everything they introduce. And there is no way I feel like, I don't know how Africans will let go the religious thing that
I don't
we
know. It's gonna
have.
be hard, boy. I don't know.
It's so hard. This is going to be really so hard. I was given an example here. An African, before your fellow African identifies you as an African, there is that religious part. Which church do you go to?
Yep.
If you have, so you're a Muslim. So they don't want to know. Will not even ask, are you my uncle or something? No. If you're a Muslim, that story ends. I don't want to know what you are that bus. So there
Sorry,
is
sorry, sorry, Santos Mama. We don't want to know what church you go to. You're not a Muslim. You get your ass out of here.
so I think the issue of religion throughout history has been one of the biggest blocks.
But let me ask you a question, Maria. Let me ask you a question real quick. How does it manifest itself in Ugandan society as far as the Christian and the Muslim divide in Uganda? How is the relationship there?
Well, the relationship of Christian and Muslim society. First of all, I'm going to say Uganda doesn't have a huge religious difference.
That's good.
Um, because I think it is still a little bit traditional. They still have a little bit traditional context because people largely recognize themselves with their origin and the origin identity than religion. Uh,
Okay, that's
because
good.
because I think the reason being we don't have too much, even we don't have too much of uh, the outside languages when we are in these kind of places. At the end of the day, you will find, if at all, uh, the Muslims are in, let me say, in the northern part, and the Catholics are in the northern part. When both of them are still carrying out their preachings and their, I don't know how to call preachings and their teachings, they are still doing that in the local language within that area,
Okay, so
which
so they're
still
not do, so they're not doing
not
it with Arabic. They're not doing the Arabic language. They're still doing their
so,
local languages. Then okay,
yeah, which still leaves the Ugandans connected, all right? Which leaves, because language separates a lot.
it
And
does.
secondly, there has been freedom of like worship. We have not seen people segregated like probably you cannot
Like
do
in that,
this.
like in Nigeria where they're killing you. They killing you. Have you? The
And
Muslims kill the Christians, and the Christians kill the Muslims.
yeah, and the funniest thing at times, you see, we have these churches that perform miracles.
Oh, here we go. Here we
That's
go.
a shame. So when during those sessions of miracle performing,
Oh, hold on, Maria.
you
Hold on, Maria. Let me give a shout out to every. Hold on, Maria. Let me give a shout out to the. We got we got 1,851 people in here. So right now, I think this our record right now. We got 1,850. Dang, 1,860 people. So shout out to all 1,864 people in here. Listen to the live. We appreciate you. Make sure you follow the Twitter channel. That's where you guys are watching. But shout out to Big Cheese. Uh,
have big
so
cheese here.
dang, it's the numbers. We about to get set though. We about to have 2,000 people in here, brother. Listen to you on a live. It's going up and up. So it's one
Yeah,
one 1,000. Okay, stop. There's 1,878 people in
yes.
here on the live. Just like old YouTube used to be back in the day for us. So 1,878 people in here on the live. So please follow the Twitter channel, family, and show Maria and Seto some love. Hey, that's
Yeah,
our record. Hey, I think this is our record on the live, guys. Yesterday we had 1,600. The day before that we had like 1,300, then 700. I think this is our record right now,
increasing
1,878.
every day. Yeah.
Uh,
It's increasing every day for sure. And we are so grateful. I usually call them the silent majorities because they don't comment. No, shit, but we love you and we know you're always watching. Yeah, Big Cheese on YouTube says that Maria, when I was in prison, the Black Orthodox Muslims were so embarrassing. Sometimes us blacks had to hoop their
yeah.
ass. And it's like Arabs, they have no shame whatsoever. That's Big Cheese, of course, commenting that Black Orthodox. So I thought Orthodox was a religion.
It's usually, but I don't.
Wait,
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If Big Chief's talking about the Sunnis or the Shia. Those are different sects right there too. That are both Orthodox but different sects. You got the Sunni Muslims. You got the Shia Muslims. It all depends on what denomination you're talking about. That because they have their
that,
different orthodoxies within their different sects.
mm,
Because the Iranians and those other people, those are Shia Muslims down in Lebanon. Those are Shia Muslims. And we know like
mm.
Iraq and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all them, those are Sunni Muslims.
Yeah, but in Africa, you find some other places there is a lot of separatism. People have separated a lot according to their religion that they don't mix. When they are staying, you will find the other district has Muslims, the other district has. But here Muslims with the Christians live together. So they even go to school together, though there's Catholics, some Catholic schools and some Muslim schools, and you still find Catholics in Muslim schools, and you still find some Muslims in Catholic schools. So
Damn, damn, we got 1,923 people in here. Shit. Damn. We go. Hey,
guys,
we gonna get.
you
We
so
gonna get.
much
We gonna get. We gonna
for
get to
it.
2,000. We gonna get to 2,000 before we done. Come on in here.
Yeah,
Give us at least 2,000 on the live. Go ahead,
yeah.
Maria.
The audience is growing on Twitter every
On Twitter,
day.
yeah, yeah. Twitter's
Every
huge. Yeah, Twitter's huge for us. Yeah, because we were never. I never used Twitter that much, so we were never censored. So this what our old YouTube numbers used to be, 1,923 stuff like this. So Twitter, we're not censored on Twitter yet. So that's why we got 1,923 people in here on the live. But I wish they connected to the StreamYard where we can see their comments. I wish StreamYard connect them to the StreamYard so we can see the comments like Big Cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The ones that are not nation. I got you. I got you. That's what I was telling. That's what I was telling Maria. That's what Malcolm X was at first until he switched over. He was one of them goofy Nation of Islam people. That's not even Islam. Some made up shit. The Muslims got mad and told them to stop calling their organization that. You people ain't got nothing to do with Islam. Stop calling yourself the Nation of Islam. It ain't got nothing to do with no Islam.
You're, you're, I'm going to say another question. You were telling us about the fake Muslims in America at that time, the time of
Yeah,
Malcolm.
yeah, yeah. That's Malcolm X and them. That was called the Nation of Islam. That's what Big Cheese is talking about. They made their own fake Islam. It's all. It has nothing to do with the regular Islam. It's all made up. But they said this other guy that they go worship is God. He's Allah. It's crazy. And so the real Muslims were telling the fake black Muslims in America to knock it off. Stop calling what they do Islam
Mm,
because it had nothing to do with Islam,
mm,
and that was true. They were saying that their leader was Allah, was the prophet of Allah, and a little white man called Farrell Muhammad was Allah. Farad Muhammad, this white man named Farad Muhammad was Allah, and the Muslims like, hey, what you doing? Can't be calling this Islam. This is made up bullshit. And that's what
yeah.
Malcolm X started. No, not on TikTok. I gotta get Maria to set the TikTok channel back up. I keep forgetting to tell her to set it back up. No, on Twitter. On Twitter, Big Cheese, not on TikTok. All these numbers are on Twitter. Our Twitter channel is the same thing as all our channels. Black Empire Network on Twitter. Not on TikTok, on Twitter. So right now they're at 1,906. See, if you go to Twitter, Big Cheese, Black Empire Network on Twitter, you see right now they got 1,972 people on the live right now. All we need is 30 more people to get to 2,000. Come on, guys. I know we can do it. Let's get let's get let's get let's get 25 more people in before they wrap up. Let's get to 2,000 on a live stream with Central and Maria. They becoming stars of Twitter. You better ask somebody.
By the way, our Twitter audience started growing slowly by slowly. We started no. There's sometimes last week we usually had to. We always had like 20, and then we go to. I know we started with like 6, and then we went to 10, and then we went to 20, and then it's all that coming 30, and one time boom.
2,000. We got 2,000. We got 2,000. We got 2,000 guys. You gotta see it. We're at 2000. 2000, Santo. We're at 2000 on the live.
And at that time, I didn't know it was Twitter. I was like, oh, we always have all this, but they don't say anything. So we had to click on it and we realized we were on Twitter, and it was the audience from Twitter. So I had to
Yeah,
leave it.
they didn't connect. StreamYard, the software doesn't connect their
Yeah.
chat room to it. I don't know why they did it like that. They don't connect the chat room. With Twitter right now, we got 2016. So we got a 2000 people live, guys.
So thank you so much. Those you guys always watch us from Twitter. I mean, I always call you the silent majorities because you're always the majority. I thought
Yeah,
you're
hell
always.
yeah. And the overwhelming majority, hell, it's 2016 up in here. Shit.
So we, for those who are just joining, we are talking about the Black Power movement. You can still watch. We talked about the Black Power movement. We talked about Malcolm X, Black Panther, the entire journey, but we did not tackle the Pan Africanist part of the movement. But of course, with this, we also discussed the reason why these parties were collapsing. And we usually see a lot of people having talk shows, debates about Black Power movements. But there is one thing the majority of the people don't discuss about. The major reason why we had these people break apart, where we had these parties collapse, was basically religion. Most people don't identify religion as a big block to Africa's destruction or Black people's destruction. But it has been significant. It has been a very significant hindrance to the unity and prosperity of the Black people. Like I was saying, the result absorbed religion crazily, more than even the people who introduced this thing. I was even giving an example. All the time when we are talking about the situations in Congo, we discuss about the exploitation of minerals in Congo. Of course, we know. Everybody knows how Congo is producing the most wanted minerals, I should say. Um, when we discuss about the situations in Congo, we should look at. We always talk about the United Nations. We talk about America's involvement. We talk about big business, American people involvement. We talk about Russia. We talk about China, of course, and then we talk about we talk about the British. But one thing that we don't look at is the religion part, the existence of the Vatican, the existence of Rome, the existence of the Vatican Church in the exploitation of the minerals of Congo. Actually, we don't see that because I guess maybe I don't know. Religion
By
is
the
a
way,
self. Don't
by
talk
the way, the
about
Catholic Church
their
is too much into Congo's politics.
Congo's
Too much.
politics. Yes, because it is very important that Congo remains the way it is. When you go to Vatican, all the pictures of Jesus are of gold. Does Rome produce gold? All the pictures of Mary and gold. The Holy Grail. Maybe I don't know where the original Holy Grail was at, but whatever that Holy Grail, no,
it's, it's made up, Maria. It's nonsense. So you know the Holy Grail ain't real because Putin told you Jesus is black. The Holy Grail got a white man on it, or they say the Holy Grail maybe some cup, and maybe
some
some
say that
cup or something.
the Holy Grail is that because we see the Holy Grail made of
I don't know,
gold.
Big Cheese. They got 2063 up in there now. Shit.
Big Cheese says that I should say white lives matter and my Twitter views will go to 100,000 instantly. I cannot do that. I can't do that. So you see, most of these things actually matter. Where does Rome get the gold that it has? And where does the Vatican Church get all that? And what is the interest of the Catholic Church in the Congo's politics? All right. If you look at most of the countries that are going through a lot because of their minerals, behind this, even before we pinpoint to America, United Nations, China, there is Vatican involved. There is church involved in these things. And these. So it is very important as well. It is important for the church, for the Africans to remain that way because they are benefiting a lot. I usually even ask myself, all right, every time people give in a tithe, they have this, they collect money for everything. Where does that money go? We have not seen Vatican. Okay, we have Muslims who collect money from Arab countries to build mosques
In Africa.
in African countries. Because for them, they believe when you build something, it's a blessing. When you build like a mosque and someone prays in that mosque when you're dead, you're going to have all those swalas. Prayers are called swala. All the swalas that these people will be doing will find you there. They'll give you a proper seat. Okay? For the Catholics and the Christians, I have not seen them invest in that. I don't know. We have not seen Rome build a church. Even the churches that began here were grass-thatched churches. The Africans built. We never saw no involvement of any white person. As much as they introduced that Christianity, we never saw them build churches. Even they keep saying they build churches, they build schools. The schools were built by Africans. They were collecting money in churches to build these schools. The first church in most of the first churches, there is St. Peter's here at in Zambia. If you look at the first images of St. Peter's, it was a grass-thatched church. The whites would sit in that church when it is of grass. Until the followers started collecting money, until they had to get materials. Rome did not build that church. Even now, the big churches, the entire money comes from the local people. They decide. And when they decide to construct a hospital, and everyone will gather money to build a hospital, it will be the most expensive hospital you can go to after you have contributed to building this hospital. And the very people who have contributed cannot even afford to enter this hospital. So for the Vatican and for the religion, it is business. It has never been here to unify. It has never been here for your well-being, not even your peace.
That's right.
Are here to make money. And the people who speak loud of it are these other new religions. For them, they are here to make money. They will tell you it is money. For these other, they call them the born. I don't know how they are called. These new religions that have come. Is it the born agains?
Yeah, born again Christians are the Jehovah Witnesses, the Seventh Day Adventists, the Mormons, all that other crazy stuff.
Born again Christians don't lie about notion. They don't lie about money. They want money. They say it. Even the person who started church and say, "I want to buy a car." Who is collecting money for my car? And people will collect. For them, they are so bold. So you cannot tell me, as a Catholic community, we have collected
Wow, y'all
money
had 2,100 people.
to construct.
Shout out to Maria and Seth. You guys had 2,100. Jesus Christ. It's 2,100 people in here on the line. 2,000. Maria and Seth got 2,100 people in here. Wow.
Thank you guys for supporting and watching our shows. Thank you. So, like I was saying, if the community decides if at all, let me say I'm a Catholic, I'm in a church, and every Sunday we are collecting money to construct this hospital or this health center. I expect us to build this health center to facilitate the people. But when these health centers are built, people still continue to invest in money to get the medical services, which I feel like does not make sense. Why don't you just construct your own business and let people come and pay money? It is just not right for me it is not right for me to call. No, it is swindling and it's scam. I'm constructing, and after I fall sick, I still have to pay. Yeah, I'm not even cheaply, because I would say, well, we are just paying a little facilitation fee. I would understand. I would understand if I come and you're like, you have to pay a little bit to keep the place running. All right, I will understand. But you cannot ask for a bill that is extremely costly, more than even other health center services.
Look at the
It does.
schools,
Look at the
missionary
schools.
schools.
Look at the missionary schools. If you don't have like millions, you don't take your child there. These are schools that were built by the poor
And they
people.
increase fees every
They
time.
every time.
Mm.
So Vatican is actually making a
And you
business
have to
out of
collect that
Africa.
money that
Uh-oh. Hope you guys didn't pause. So family on Twitter, want to thank everybody for coming to Twitter. It's 2,145 of you guys in here watching the live. Like they froze. And they're going to wrap it up in a minute. So everybody please follow the Twitter channel where you guys seem to be more comfortable watching Santa Maria right now. When I come in, the numbers always go up. So, because they took away all our followers. I guess the AI must not be working. We used to have 5,000 followers. We down to like 100 and something. And so this just proves that we still got a following on Twitter. Because right now we're up to 2,146 of you guys on Twitter watching. So please, if you don't mind, please hit the follow button so we can build our numbers back up. Now I'm not sure if they're if Maria and Seto's internet has gone down over in Uganda, but they were about to wrap it up anyway. It's been 3 hours. That's how long the show runs. And we didn't do none of the other shows, family. About the staff, Kentucky Fried Chicken and pizza, and they watch Boys in the Hood. So we didn't do none of the other afternoon shows today because gave the staff the day off. Well, not really the day off, but bought them lunch and a movie at the studio. So we'll wait a couple more minutes see if Seth and them comes back. So everybody who's on this live, all 2,406 of you, please go over to Google Play Store and download our free app at Black Hot Fire Network. It's free. Okay? All 2,000 of you up in here, go to Google Play Store and download our app, Black Hot Fire Network. Okay? Don't cost you nothing. Okay? Won't cost you anything to go download our app. So right now they're having internet problems over in Uganda. So while you're waiting for them to come back on the scene, go over to Google Play Store and download the free app at Black Hot Fire Network. All right? So whenever we do get kicked off any of these social media platforms, you can always know where to follow us at. And that's Black Hot Fire Network. Because also we play music. Like last night, they were on Twitter and the network doing request music. Joby was doing requests of our music yesterday. So everybody in here on the Twitter feed, it's over 2,000 of you guys up in here. So if you would please go over to Google Play Store and download our free app at Black Hot Fire Network. So we're happy to have you guys here. All 2,000 of you on the live. We're going to keep the lives growing. So we get the 5,000 and 6,000 people on the live like we used to. I don't think we ever get this on YouTube ever again. We'll never get these numbers again on YouTube, but we're on Twitter. So we might get them on Twitter and TikTok. So we're happy to have you guys here. Let's wait and see whether or not they're going to come back. Like I said, while we're waiting, everybody on the live, please go to Google Play Store and download our free app at Black Hot Fire Network. We'd appreciate that. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to make it back, guys. It looks like the internet or their power might have gone off. Because usually it'll be back. But I appreciate you guys, all 2,000 of you, showing up for their lives. All right. I want to appreciate everybody, all 2,000 of you guys up, all 2,147 of you up in here, showing up for their lives. You know, seems as soon as I come in, the numbers pop up, go faster. But I appreciate you watching them and supporting us. Because we've been banned and shadow banned on every social media platform. So we're waiting to see if they're going to come back, guys. I'll give them like 5 more minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up. I don't even know what YouTube we even on, what YouTube channel we on. I see Big Cheese on. I don't even know what YouTube channel we even on. But it tells me right here that the Twitter following that you guys are 2,000 plus strong. Like I said, if you guys don't mind, please go download our free app at Black High Fire Network and join the family for good. And pretty soon I'll start sending our WhatsApp app, have Maria and them put our WhatsApp app link in the chat room so you can join our WhatsApp group as well. You know. So it's a big milestone for them. It's the first time they reach over 2,000 people on a live. So we appreciate everybody showing up on their live. So I don't got much to say, guys. I'm still waiting for them to pop on up in here. My voice is mostly gone. It sounds a big cheese again. This is not TikTok. This is the Twitter feed. They're not even on TikTok. This is the Twitter. It's 2,000 people, 2,146 people in here on Twitter on the live feed. So all you guys here, you're on the Black Hot Fire Network Twitter channel. Please follow the channel. We would appreciate that. Please go down and give us a follow. If you like our content and you think it gives you value, please go down and hit the follow button. We would highly appreciate you. We're trying to get our number. Obviously, our numbers must be still pretty big over there. You know, they've taken all our numbers away. We got 2,000 people in here on a live stream. So I'm going to give them 3 or 4 more minutes, see if they're going to make it back in here. If not, we'll wrap it on up, guys. Appreciate everybody showing up. Sure you made Seto and Maria happy. It's 2,000 plus up in here. We hope you come back. Tell some friends about them. Share the live. You know, share the live. I want us to get up to at least 5,000 on the live up in here on Twitter. I want us to get up to at least 5,000 to 6,000 on the live. So we reached the milestone today. It's over 2,000 of you up in here. So I want to get us up to at least 5,000 on the live. So see if they're going to come back up in there. They're already over the time. 3 hours is up. Like I said, guys, hit the follow button. Channel that you're on, Black Hot Fire Network. Follow us. Go download our free app over there on Google Play Store, Black Hot Fire Network. Same as the page that you're watching us from. We appreciate you showing up. So, you know, they were talking about Black Power. What is it? And Maria was saying, sadly enough, through Black Power, as Black people, the religion gets in the way. We can't differentiate religion from Black Power. Most African people globally go with their religion before any kind of power. And sadly, most other people go with their power first. It's their power first and their religion second. no matter how much they portray the otherwise, other people's always their power first and their religion second. For black people or African people, it always tends to be their religion first and their power secondly. And if you're a different religion than I subscribe to, then we can't even work together on gaining power. Say, I'm Christian, you're a Muslim, or I'm a Muslim, you're a Christian. Now you say that you can't even work with me anymore in obtaining power because we have different ideologies religiously, and that becomes a problem. But at the end of the day, it should be our power first. Because African people, black people globally, we are out of power. And you cannot move any society forward without power. Okay? Religion doesn't move society. I'm just being honest. Power does. And so we must be able to put down our religious disputes in order to obtain power as a united front. So once we gain power, then we go back to fighting about religion. But we must get power first. That's why all the heinous things are done to us in the world as black or African people, whatever you want to call yourself, is because the lack of power. Us not having power causes these heinous things done to us as a global black family. Because as black people, we have no power globally. We don't have any power. So without power, we're constantly what? Disrespected. We're constantly disrespected because we don't have power. And that's always the problem. So I want to thank everybody. So yeah, I think they're gone, guys. I think their internet either went down in Uganda. Like I said, as you guys hear on TikTok, I mean on Twitter, my fault, I think Twitter. See, we are a radio network. We're really a TV station / network in America and in Africa. Oh, they made it back. I was gonna wrap up. They made it back. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. It was coming back. I was gonna wrap it up. I didn't. It was even coming back. They've been past their three
Oh,
hours. So good. Good, Maria.
our lights went off.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but they came back
yeah.
on. Okay.
Yeah, our time is up.
Okay. I wasn't sure, guys. That's what I was saying. You know, if they don't make it back, they've already done their 3 hours. I wanted to give their appreciation. This is a high mark for them, reaching 22,150 people. You know, I want to get them up to 5,000. You know, so they can be stars of Uganda, right? So, you know, so I want to appreciate everybody coming through, but they can get their own words now that they're back. You got it, Maria Seto. Oh, I think they paused again. I think they went out again. We'll see what happens, guys, when they come back. Here they go. So the internet's acting up in Uganda. Like I said, um, please follow us over there on the Twitter channel because we give you nothing but good information. Are they back? You guys back? Okay. They're back again. You guys don't have no sound. You guys turn your sound off? There's no sound. I think the internet just bad because the lights. You guys lost your sound. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, your sound is completely gone. So Okay, they're back. Let's see what happens, guys. They're back. They're back. Still got no sound. I don't know what's going on with this sound. It might be the internet. I think the internet connection may be bad, but the sound is down. I don't know. But you guys got yourself on mute or something? I don't see no mute or nothing. Like I said, please, everybody in here, please go and follow the channel that you're on right now. If you think we can bring you value, we have fun, but it's mostly intellectual conversations, but we do have a lot of fun here. So feel free to follow the channel, follow the host. And like I said, go over to Google Play Store and download our free app at Black Eye Fire Network. It don't cost you nothing. And, if you enjoy it, it's got a lot of things because you'll see them live on the app as well. So we'll see if they make it back or not, guys. Like I said, I want to thank everybody that's coming. I want to thank everybody that came through. All 2,150 of you. I want to appreciate you guys for showing up. So we'll see if they're going to make it back in here one more time before we wrap it up. If you got any comments, guys, please, on Twitter, please leave your comments. They don't allow us to see your comments. If you're talking to us, Twitter doesn't allow us to see your comments on the software that we use. So after the live, if you have any questions, please leave your comments. We'll go back over there and answer your comments on Twitter. Yeah, if you guys have any questions on Twitter, just leave comments and we'll go back into the Twitter feed and answer your comments. So right now, I'm just waiting to see if they're going to come back, connect back to the show before we wrap this up. At least 2,000 you in it. At least just give us a follow. You obviously like what we do. You come in day in and day out. Just give us a follow. No, it's free. You can always unfollow us if you don't like what we're saying. I'm trying to see. And every time we go to live, you guys click your notification bell or a notification button so you guys will be alerted every time we go live on Twitter. This seems to be where you're comfortable at. So make sure, follow us and turn on your notification bell so whenever we go live, you can join us. I haven't done a lot of selling like this in a long time. So, click on your notification bell, follow the page. So I'm asking you to do 3 things, okay? 3 things I'm asking. Click on your notification bell on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, and then go over to the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone and download our free app, Black Hot Fire Network. Those 3 things would keep you up to date and following us. Click on your notification bell, follow the page, go to Google Play Store, and download our free app, Black Hot Fire Network. It's the same thing, same name as the Twitter page. Same name as the Twitter page. So we appreciate you guys being in here. So still wait for them to come back. If they don't, I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, please follow us. We will appreciate that. Please hit your notification bell so whenever we go live, you can join us whenever you're free. And go over to Google Play Store and download our free app. And you can be with us all the time as we play music, play shows. It's all there on our app as well. Black Hot Fire Network at the Google Play Store. It's there. Everything you see here on Twitter, We got it there on the app as well. In case the powers that be that ever want to shut us down, we have you there already waiting on us as well on our own app that we own and control. Right? As black people, we must own things. So we must have control of our own destiny. So click over to Google Play Store and download the app Black Hot Fire Network. So in case they take us down on Twitter, nothing's guaranteed. You always have us there as well. So I'm not sure if they're going to make it back, guys. Like I said, we are a network. We're on all of your social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You find us anywhere, just type in Black Hot Fire Network. And no matter what platform you're on, it's going to pop up. And you're going to see we are a network in America and in Africa. And then, like I said, we have our own application at the Google Play Store that you download for free. Black Hot Fire Network. So, but since you guys are comfortable here on Twitter, that's where we found you at. We want to make sure you follow us here, right? So give the page a follow and click on your notification bell so you know whenever we're live on Twitter. And like I said, we surely appreciate you guys following us here. Obviously, you guys like the content because it's 2,151 of you. My fault, 51 of you in here now. 2,151 of you in here on this live from Twitter. So we'd appreciate if you follow the page. At least 2,000 of you follow the page so we get the numbers back up. Hit your bell notification, right? So you can join us every time we do live if you're free to do so. And then just go over and download our free app at Black Hot Fire Network. And so, guys, I don't think they're coming back. I think the internet's down. I think the internet finally crashed. So with that, guys, I want to say everybody have a blessed day. Please join us again. Smash that notification bell so you know we go live every day, guys. We do shows every day. 7 days a week, somebody's up on here. 7 days a week, somebody's up on here throughout the day. So smash on that notification bell on Twitter and then follow the page. Because someone is over here every day, guys. Every day we're here. Some information is being dispensed every day. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you guys for showing up. Everybody on Twitter, we appreciate you. I want to see you guys follow the page. It don't cost you nothing to follow the page, guys. There's 2,000 of you up in here. It don't cost you anything to give us a follow. Obviously, you like the content. Give us a follow. Hit the notification bell. And go over to Google Play Store and download our free app, Black Hot Fire Network. Same title sake as the Twitter channel. Okay? Same title sake as the Twitter channel. So with that, guys, I want to thank all 150 of you coming in on this live. I appreciate you showing up. Don't be strangers. If you hit the notification bell, you won't be a stranger. All right? So we appreciate you showing up. Everybody have a blessed day. Take care of yourself. Until the next show, I want to say peace. Peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you for showing up. Bye-bye.